nalulungkot dahil iniwan at ipinagpalit, niloko ng iyong minamahal. Kung ngayon, i-type sa inyong mga cellphone, Facebook o YouTube man ang Millennial Online TV. Dahil nasa Millennial Online TV na ang online haralista ng bagong milenyo, si Randel Villados.
Naninigas ang aking katawan kapag umikot ng plaka.
At haharanahin kayo ni Randel ng iba't ibang awitin para maibsan ang inyong inip at kalungkutan kahit nasaan man kayo.
Hanggang sa tumanda. Come on! Kung tayo'y matanda na, sana'y di tayo magbago.
At pwede rin kayong makiduet kay Randel tuwing Sabado ng hapon. Tutok na! Tawag na, mga milenyo!
Araw-araw ikaw ang gusto kong kasama. Buhay ko'y kumpleto na tuwing nandito ka sa tabi ko o aking giliw.
Mga milenyo, pagod ka na ba galing sa trabaho? At gutom na sa maghabong pagtatrabaho, pero wala kang pagkain sa bahay? Narito na ang sagot, mga katropa, ang super manok lechon. Napapawi sa inyong gutom at siguradong mapapa-anirize ka dahil sa tender juicy na jam pa at siguradong malinis at bagong katay buhat sa farm. Kaya super masalasa at pangmasa pa. Ano pa hinihintay nyo, mga katropa? Takbo na sa Super Manok Panteño Siniluan at bumili na. Baka maabusan ka, katropa.
Mga millennials, marunong na ba kayong magluto ng mga masasarap at swak sa budget na mga pagkain? Abay, wag puro lang kayo aksi at ML at puro pagkakalikot lang ng cellphone. Dapat marunong ka rin sa gawaing bahay at tulungan ang inyong mga mamsi. Kaya tara na, samahan natin ang kusinera ng bagong milenyo, si Ate J. At tuturuan tayong magluto ng mga masasarap na ulam para sa ating mga hapagkainan at swak pa sa budget. Ika nga, a delicious food on a proper price. Tara na, mga katropa! I-type lang sa inyong mga cellphone, sa inyong mga Facebook at YouTube, ang Millennial Online TV.
Mga katropa, ako po si Randel Villados, ang online naranista ng bagong milenyo ng Millennial Online TV na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na makikanta, makisaya at tumutok sa lahat ng programa ng Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na, mga katropa!
Ako inyong lingkod, Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa, ang inyong kabarangay dito sa Millennial Online TV. Abangan ang ating mga kaganapan dito sa ating bansa at abangan din ang panunungkol ni Kapitan sa ating Dalaw Barangay. Paano nyo kami mapapanood? I-type lamang sa inyong mga cellphone, sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Ano pa hinihintay nyo, mga katropa? Like, subscribe, at share na. Okay, mga katropa?
Mga katropa, ako po si Gazi Sarip, ang inyong tagapaghatid ng balita sa bagong milenyo na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na tunghayan ang aking mga pag-uulat at tumutok sa lahat ng programa dito sa Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa! Mga katropa, ako po si Jim Pahayag, ang inyong tagapaghatid ng mga balita sa bagong milenyo na nag-aanyaya sa inyong matunghayan ng aking mga pag-uulat at tumutok sa lahat ng programa ng Millennial Online TV. I-type lang sa inyong mga Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa!
Mga katropa, ako po si Ka-Agila Magas Gapusana sa programang Agila sa Bagong Milenyo. At kung kayo may mga sumbong at mga reklamo, mag-chat, tumawag at mag-text sa Millennial Online TV upang ating solusyonan ang inyong mga problema. I-type lang sa inyong mga cellphone ang Millennial Online TV upang inyong mapanood ang lahat ng programa sa Millennial Online TV. Ano pang hinihintay nyo mga katropa? Nood na!
Barangay, pangunahing unit ng pamahalang lokal kung saan dito pinag-uusapan ang bawat sigalot ng mga residente ng bawat barangay. Dito rin pinag-uusapan ng mga piling halal na opisyal na barangay ang mga proyekto para sa kanilang barangay. Kumustahin natin ang panunungkulan ni Kapitan dito sa Dalo Barangay sa Millennial Online TV worldwide, ang katropa ng bawat barangay.
Ating tinatapos ang ating pagpupulong. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo at tapos na po ang ating session. Enjoy na po tayo.
Nagbabasa ka pa ba ng dyaryo? O nakikinig ka pa ba ng radyo? Kung ngayon, lahat yan ay mapapakinggan nyo na sa inyong mga cellphone. Dahil online na tayo, mga kamilenyo. Kaya manood, makinig dito sa Millennial Online TV.
Rider, sumalpok sa
Kaya
poste ng
i-follow, like, subscribe, at i-share na mga katropa.
Nais mo bang guminhawa ang iyong pakiramdam? Kung ikaw ay may sipon, ubo, lagnat at iba pang nararamdaman, lalo na ang sakit ng katawan, narito na ang Yasmag Magnesium Therapy Oil. Ang Yasmag Magnesium Therapy Oil ay nakatutulong na ibsan ang iyong nararamdaman sa pamamagitan ng pagpahid sa apektadong parte ng katawan, gaya ng noo, balikat, tuhod at kung anuman ang masakit na parte ng iyong katawan. Panoorin ang mga testimonials ng gumamit ng Yasmag.
Yan po, ginagamit niya. Siya po ay isa sa aking mga testimony.
Ako, si Destino Francisco, ay gumagamit ng Yasmag na siyang nakapagpalakad sa akin. Kaya kayo, mga kaibigan ko at kakilala, ay pinapayuhan kong gumamit ng product na ito.
Isa sa ating testimony, ikukwento po niya sa inyo yung kanyang result nung siya ay 1 linggo nang nilalagnat at giniginaw ng hihina.
Hi, ako po si Rina Liliantos, 29 years old, taga Sariaya, Quezon po. Nangyari po sa akin, itong mga nakaraang araw po ay hindi ko po maintindihan yung pakiramdam ko, gawa pong ang sakit po sobra ng likod ko, nilalagnat ako, tapos po ay hindi lang po 1 linggo ang nararamdaman ko. Simula po nung July 30 hanggang itong araw, hanggang nung mga nakaraang araw. Yun lang po, nawala lang po ng dahil sa magnesium.
Paano ginawa mo?
Ang ginawa lang po sa akin ay ipinahinaplas po sa akin likod kung saang parte ng katawan ang masakit. Tapos po ay hinilot lang po ako. At hanggang po pagpawisan ako sa pagkahilot na may magnesium. Ayun lang po, sunod-sunod po ang paglagay kung saan banda ang may masakit. At yun nga po, ilang araw lang sa paggamit ko ng magnesium, ako mismo, sarili ko, ramdam ko ang pagbabago sa aking katawan. Dahil po simula nga po nung July 30 hanggang itong bago itong mga nakaraang araw lang, hindi ako halos makatayo dahil sa sobrang sakit ng aking likod.
Ako po si Leslie. First time ko po mag-try nitong E-Sabong magnesium therapy. Ang una ko pong naramdaman ang bango niya sa ang bango niya lang hapin, nakaka-relax ng katawan, and then yung sakit na iniinda ko sa puso, yung sakit-sakit, wala naman ako sakit sa puso, pero yung mga kirot-kirot nawala niya, instant nawala, na tagal ko nang iniinda. And then hindi siya malagkit ipahid.
Now, we are
Talakayin,
Biggest destruction of dangerous drugs worth 1.
rebisahin, opinyon, malawaking, aksyonan. Kasama si Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa sa pagbabalita. Dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Tutok na mga katropa!
Okay, so magandang hapon mga kaibigan. Pasensya na kayo at medyo hinapon na naman po kami ng aking partner, no, si Joshua Baltao. At kami po ay merong pinuntahang forum na magkasunod, 2 forum. Isa po sa alas 10 ng umaga at isa po ay sa alas 2 ng hapon. Naku po, ang ganda po ng mga pinag-usapan at tinalakay doon, pero bukas po natin itutunghay sa inyo yan, no? Pagsasabay na rin nating ilabas yan bukas. At ito po'y tungkol sa ating kinararanasan ngayon, lalo na ng ating mga transport sector, yung pong problema, no, sa pagtaas ng pangunahing produkto ng petrolyo. Alam na natin yan, alam na this, gasolina at krudo. Siyempre kasama na dyan yung mga LPG. Nako, grabe po, ano, ang taas. Baka daw po sa susunod na linggo o tong linggong ito ay baka magtaas po hanggang 16 pesos ang gasolina. Abay, kawawa po yung ating mga driver. No, kawawa yung ating mga operator at driver dahil wala na. Paano pa? Ang iba nga dyan, nagsiship na ng hanap buhay. Sa halip na po magmaneho, ay nagtitinda lang ng gulay sa palengke na lang. Iba naman naglalako ng mga karyoka. Yung iba naman, yung kwek-kwek, yung tuhog-tuhog. Mas maganda, ganyan nga lang ang gawing hanap buhay, mas kikita para. Dahil kung ganyan kataas ang gasolina, paano pa? Di ba? Diyos ko, ang hirap. Talagang ganon. At hindi lang yan. Pagka nagtuloy-tuloy pa ho yan, siyempre, obligado magtataas po ng presyo ng pamasahe. No? Pero hindi naman ho agad-agad yun dahil dinadaan pa ho yan sa deliberasyon dyan sa LTFRB at sa LTO. Kung ako LTFRB. No? Hindi naman kaya basta po pwedeng magtaas po ng presyo ng pamasahe. Kailangan aprobado po ng transport sector. Wala tayong magagawa. Kailangan, hindi naman po pwedeng hindi itaas. Magtsatsaga ang mga driver na bibili ng ganong gasolina tapos ang pamasahe as is, hindi pwede. Kahit naman ako yung driver, di bali na, hindi na lang ako papasada. Ngayon, pagka nangyari yan at nagkaroon ng mass stop ng pasada ng mga transport sector, paano na? Kakayanin ba ng mga pinade-deploy ng gobyerno ng mga sasakyan na libre, kuno? Yun lang carousel, hirap na hirap di ba? Pag-aabang ka doon sa EDSA, hihintayin mo, pagdating mo ron, puno na, o di maghihintay ka na, kaya ganun kahirap. Well, tignan natin, sabi nga nung kaninang nakausap natin na si ang first nominee ng T.R.O.P.A party list na si Councilor Robin Feliciano, na kinakailangan within 1 week maresolba, no, o kaya yung excise tax, no, o kaya naman yung ayuda, no, para doon sa presyo ng gasolina. Ika nga yung may sinabi sa kanina. So kailangan within the week ay maresolba kaagad yan, kasi pagka hindi ay wala. Maraming mga driver ang hihinto sa pagpasada. Paano na pagka nangyari yun, no? At yun din, meron pa isang transport group, yung BTS, no, na pinangunan ni Attorney Abalen. Bukas po may tutungay natin yan. Pero ngayon mga kaibigan ay tutungay natin sa inyo yung ginawang 64th, no? Yung ginawa 64th na commemoration ng grupong HWPL, no? Kung saan po ay tinalakay nila doon sa kanilang tawag dito, yung kanilang live stream link, no? Yung 6th annual commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. Eh, alam nyo naman ang nangyayari ngayon, di ba? Yung gera sa Ukraine, tsaka dyan sa Russia. Kita nyo, apektado kaagad tayo. Yung presyo, no? Tumaas yung presyo ng mga pangunahing produkto ng petrolyo. Eh, kawawa naman ho tayo, no? Lalo, umpisa pa lang ho yan, no? Dahil kasunod po niya, sigurado magtataasan ng bilihin, tataas ang singil sa pamasahe, at siyempre, obligado itaas ang aumento ng mga manggagawa at mga empleyado. No, hindi naman po pwedeng itataas niyo yung presyo ng gasolina, itataas niyo yung presyo ng pamasahe, pero ang sweldo hindi. Di ba? So, hindi po pwede. Kaya lahat po yan, sunod-sunod. Kaya sabi nga, kailangan araling mabuti. At kailangan asap. No, hindi po pwedeng, kasi kung idadaan sa plenaryo yan, dadaan pa sa deliberasyon, abay wala na. Di ba? Nga na. Matagal ho yan pag dumaan sa plenaryo. Sana kung pagkahalimbawang recess po ngayon ng Congress, paano ngayon dadaan sa plenaryo yan? Paano pagdedebatihan yan? Kaya malabo. Pero po pwede naman na gawin ng mga ng ating Pangulo, yung ika nga executive order. No? Pag sinabi ng Pangulong itaas ang pasahe ng gantong halaga, abay, yun na yun. Antimano, implemented ka agad yun. Dahil yun ang executive order at order ng ama ng bansa. Dahil siyempre, kailangan gawin kaagad yun, ipatupad dahil kawawa ang ating mga tsuper. Well, mga kaibigan, alas 5:31 po ng hapon, Philippine Standard Time, at siyempre ako pa rin ang inyong kasama, ka-jamming, kakosa, dito po sa programang Tropa, Rosel Lopez, ang nag-iisa. The Living Legend. Living Legend talaga. Ibig sabihin, tanda na talaga. At syempre sa technical side, si Joshua Sumulat Baltao, na ako, parehas kaming pagod. Buti na lang, meron dong rancho. Joshua, no? Yun nga lang, sa totoo lang, puro kami kape ng kape ron. Tutuloy namin ni Joshua, may kape na. Di bale, brewed coffee naman. At yun mga kaibigan, pero ngayon ay tatalakayin natin, yun nga, yung sa HWPL, no, yung kanilang 6th annual commemoration ng Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. Malalaman natin, panonoorin natin. At gayon din, yung pong cockfight, no, yung about do sa mga manok, ito daw ay alternatibo, sabi po, alternatibo daw po ito ng E-Sabong. Ay, alam niyo naman, maraming naloloko, nauulol, maraming namamatay, no? Diyan sa kanilang E-Sabong. Nako, ano ba talaga? Kita nyo, merong mga sabongero na naglaho na parang bula, at nung natagpuan daw di umano ay mga wala ng buhay. Nako, paano yan? Mahirap naman yung ganun, di ba? Kaya ngayon, ito, may sinasabi, itong isang grupo na ipatutupad yata itong sinasabing cockfight, no? Wala natin kung ito'y magtatagumpay, kung ano ba ang mangyayari dito, kung ito ba'y malaki daw ito, alternative daw ito nung E-Sabong na tinatawag, no? Tingnan natin kung paano tong larong to. Baka mamaya sa umpisa lang ganon, pero after that wala na, no? Ito po yung metadana Rooster Wars, no? Yung mga manok, at ito yung Philippine base at startup ng Metadana Studio, itong launching nila ng Rooster Wars, no? Doon ginawa nga sa Pandesal Forum diyan sa Quezon City, no? Isa na fighting game na nagsisilbi na ito daw ay hindi gambling, no? Non-gambling alternative sa E-Sabong. Ayun ang sinasabi nila. Malalaman natin, At para ba explain kung anong mechanics nitong Rooster Wars, no? at ito'y ginawa nga sa Pandesal Forum. So yan po mga ipapatupad natin ay itutunghay natin. At yung ating mga katropa pips, no, gaya nila Kagawad Sani Dadal Pineda ng Tugatog Malabon, abay, panoorin mo to Kagawad para baka sakali, no? Dito hindi naman dog gambling. Ewan natin, siyempre yung iba gusto pumupusta, kaya nga may E-Sabong Pagka ika nga sinabing talpakan, pupusta ron, at pagka pumusta, may panalo yun, online din, i-GG-cash mo lang. Ganong kabilis, pero ganon din kabilis matalo, pagka ikaw nagtaya ron sa talpakan. Kaya nga di ba na-issue may mga namamatay, merong nagpapakamatay, merong nababaw sa utang, merong nagnanakaw dahil dyan sa E-Sabong. Ewan natin, no? Oo. At ngayon, wala naman tayong si Jim, di ba? May report ba, Joshua? May report ba si Jim dyan? Okay, so mga kaibigan, buti pa pakinggan muna natin ang pag-uulat ng ating kasamang si Jim Pahayag. Hindi ko malaman kung ito'y PIDEA report o doon sa region ng 5. So mga kaibigan, panoorin natin. Millennial Online TV News Update.
Arestado sa drug bypass operation ang dalawang babaeng sangkot sa illegal drug trade matapos magbenta ng humigit kumulang 50 gramo ng shabu na nagkakalaga ng 345,000 noong linggo ng gabi. Batay sa report kay PIDEA Director General Wilkins M. Villanueva, kinilala ang mga naarestong sospek na sina Teresita Adjol E. Adriano, 50 anyos, residente ng barangay Matatalahib, Sitio Centro, Tarlac City, at Corazon Adriano E. Mata, 35 anyos, ng barangay Matatalahib, Sitio Centro, Tarlac City. Nakuha mula kina Adjol at Adriano ang isang not transparent sachet na naglalaman ng 50 gramo na nagkakahalaga ng 345,000, isang unit ng basic phone, at ang bypass money na ginagamit ng posture buyer. Ang operasyon ay sa pamamagitan ng pinagsamang puwersa ng PIDEA Central Luzon, Tarlac PPO-PIU at ng lokal na pulisya. Sila ay maharap sa kasong paglabag sa Section 5 kaugnay ng Section 26-B ng RA 9165. Jim Pahayag para sa Millennial Online TV, ang katropa nyo sa pagbabalita.
Millennial Online TV News Update. Okay, maraming salamat sa iyong pag-uulat, Jim Pahayag. Gusto nga po dalawang babae raw na aresto ng Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency. At nagatid po sa atin yan ang ulat na yan sa oras na alas 5:37 po ng hapon, oras sa buong kapuluan. At syempre tuloy-tuloy tayo mga kaibigan, pero bago yan, abay magpapakilala na po si Joshua Baltao at muli po kami magbabalik para itunghay yung ating sinabing mga programa na ito po yung isang forum sa Pandesal Forum, yung Rooster Fight at yung HWPL Commemoration. Magbabalik po kami.
Ikaw ba stress? O may dinaramdam? O gulong-gulo na talaga isip mo? Tumutok lamang at panoorin dito sa Millennial Online TV. May tuturo po ko sa inyong isang paraan upang maibsan at mabawasan niyang problemado ninyong pag-iisip. Ito ay ang Tai Chi Learning Series. Sana po tumutok po kayo at abangan niyo po kung Sabado po ng umaga yan. Dito lamang po sa Millennial Online TV. Salamat po!
Hanap mo ba ay Unwind Ventures? Tara nang mamangha sa mga tanawin. Ano man ang iyong travel goals? Dadalhin namin kayo sa Unwind Ventures at saya. Dito lang sa Wow Biyahe. Kaya wow, di ba?
abangan dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Nagbabasa ka pa ba ng dyaryo? O nakikinig ka pa ba ng radyo? Kung ngayon, lahat yan ay mapapakinggan nyo na sa inyong mga cellphone. Dahil online na tayo, mga kamilenyo. Kaya manood, makinig dito sa Millennial Online TV.
Rider, sumalpok sa
Kaya
poste ng
i-follow, like, subscribe, at i-share na, mga katropa.
Now, we are
Talakayin.
Biggest destruction of dangerous drugs worth 1.
Rebisahin, opinyon, malawakin, aksyonan. Kasama si Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa sa pagbabalita. Dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Tutok na, mga katropa!
Mga katropa, ako po si Randel Villados, ang online naranista ng bagong milenyo ng Millennial Online TV na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na makikanta, makisaya at tumutok sa lahat ng programa ng Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na!
Okay, so mga kaibigan, alas 5:41 na po ng hapon, oras sa buong kapuluan. At ngayon po, abay, tunghayin na natin, unahin muna natin, Joshua, yung ginawang pandesal forum, no, tungkol doon sa Rooster fight. Ito daw alternative doon sa E-Sabong, Kagawad, ha? Panoorin mo, makinig ka mabuti. Baka mas maganda to kaysa doon sa talpakan, ha? Laging talo, ha? Okay, so mga kaibigan, huwag na natin patagalin. At yun po yung ginawa na forum dyan po sa Kamuning Bakery sa Quezon City. Mga kaibigan, panoorin natin.
Bawat isang tao, ikikwento ninyo, isummarize ninyo ano itong metadana na NFT fighting game. Pwede nyo i-explain. Imbitahin ko muna magsalita among the our three panelists today, Mikhail John Peñalosa, CEO of Metadana Studio. Tapos nasa online, Mr. Ben Joseph Panta, CEO of Janida Games. And nandito pa isang kasama natin, panelist, Mr. Jet Mark Cerilla, Head of Growth, Metadana Studio. Let us invite first Mr. Mikhail John Peñalosa, CEO of Metadana Studio, to give his opening statement. Explain mo lang what Metadana is, what is...
Hello. Hello. Ayun, may sound ba? Ayun. So thanks guys for coming. Metadana is one of the pioneering NFT studio here in the Philippines. So kami po ay group of companies that came together to make NFT content and assets. So yung composition po ng Metadana is so we have a game development studio. We have also animation and creatives, and also software engineering based in Sydney, Australia, with Michael John Peña. And then ako naman, sorry. Ako naman po, I've been into marketing, digital marketing since for 13 years. So I put this company together para makagawa po ng end-to-end na development of NFT games, content, and many different things. So basically, ang Metadana Studio, we put together the best talent in those fields, and we're making multiple NFT assets in games. So ang una po naming game is Rooster Wars. So it's a play-to-earn fighting game inspired of E-Sabong, but hindi siya gambling. That's Metadana. Thank you.
Can you explain pala what is NFT for mga laymen na hindi expert sa tech and finance? Okay, anong ibig sabihin ng NFT daw? NFT pa?
Hello. NFT means non-fungible token. So Sa token kasi may dalawang types. So there's a fungible and non-fungible. Yung fungible is yun yung parang Ethereum, Binance Coin, yung mga nade-trade mo ng madalian. Yung NFT naman, hindi siya ganun kabilis ma-liquidate. Hindi siya ganun kabilis ma-trade na katulad ng fungible. Ano siya, para siyang nagre-represent siya ng authenticity na parang katulad ng mga titulo ng land, mga ganong type, certificates, but in digital form. So, it's all, nagtatrend siya ngayon dahil, kasi di ba matagal naman na nag-exist yung mga content sa internet, everything is circulating, ganyan. Matagal na, since the internet was invented. Pero what makes it unique right now, kasi NFT, nagkakaroon kumbaga ng titles, yung mga unique na ideas that are coming out of the internet, and now authenticate siya the same way you do with regular properties in the offline world. So doon nanggagaling yung value ngayon ng NFT. Kasi sa internet, 'di ba? Ano siya kumbaga nasa centralized na naiipon yung mga attention ng tao. And attention is money, right? Attention is an asset. And ine-embody yun ng NFT. So, yeah. So that's what NFT is about.
Thank you very much. Next, we'd like to give the opening statement, Mr. Ben Joseph Panta. Nasa online ba siya?
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Hello, rinig niyo po ako? Yeah, okay, I'm not sure if you, can you guys hear me? Hindi ko naririnig yung ending yun right now, nawala. Okay, so I hope you guys can hear me now. Hindi ko kasi marinig sa inyo, pero I'm Ben Banta. I'm the CEO of Ranida Games, and I've been in the game development industry since 2008, 2009, and ayun, nice. Okay, narinig tayo pagtas ng kamay si Mick. Yeah. I head the game divisions of Metadana. Our specialty is mostly in the game development and the design of any game related content for Metadana. Although I'm not sure if I can, pero hindi ko kayo naririnig mga sirs right now. Wala akong audio na narinig from your end. Okay. 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 So tuloy ako.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ben Joseph Panta. Okay. Next, we'd like to invite Mr. Jed Mark Cedilla dito magsalita, opening statement. Siya yung Head of Growth ng Metadana Studio.
Hello. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So, ayun nga, as what Mr. Mick have told us, Metadana Studio is a full-stack metaverse studio here in the Philippines. So, ang kagandahan sa Metadana is that not like other developers na may mga kulang pa sila. In our own, kompleto. We have game developers, yun na si Sir Ben. And then we also have sobrang gandang mga, mamaya introduce naman, we have sobrang galing na mga tech people. And then we also have animation. So kompleto na. And by the way guys, in our team, ako lang siguro yung hindi ganun ka-technical. Okay, ako lang yung hindi ganun pagdating sa lalim sa knowledge, but mostly I handle communities. Okay, so I have more than 500 plus gamers in my community, and we also have links to some other gamers. So my goal here in Metadhana is to really promote the growth. Kasi we are developing games, we are developing play-to-earn games wherein people can really benefit from. Okay, so siguro ang role ko is to tap those people na nasa community. In fact, right now, as we are into Zoom, we have other people from other places in the Philippines like Bohol, and then other people na meron kaming community. Okay, so my role here is in the community talaga. And by the way, just to add up lang sa sinabi ni Sir Mick kanina regarding NFT, okay, play to earn. So, ano lang, para mas madali siguro, let me just use comparison sa real world natin. In our real world, we have assets, di ba? So, our assets is the cash we have, the cash on bank, di ba? Yan yung mga assets na meron tayo. We call it fiat. Okay? So, yan yung meron tayo assets. We have the physical assets, and then we also have assets like lands, di ba? We have assets like arts. Okay? Like, syempre, one example is Mona Lisa. Ako, I'm not that appreciative when it comes to art, but we know, when I went to Paris, yung Mona Lisa, talagang para makapasok ka lang sa Louvre, sobrang haba na ng pila. And the value is really high. Though some people may not appreciate kung ano talaga yung ganda ng Mona Lisa, di ba? So, yun yung value ng art. Some value of the actual assets are stored in arts. Okay? So, in virtual world, ganun din. We have the cryptocurrency. In virtual world, yun yung ginagamit natin. I think most of you knew cryptocurrencies. Yun yung ginagamit natin to buy, di ba, assets digitally and virtually. So ngayon, sobrang dami na ng assets natin virtually. That's why we also have the arts, the properties virtually. Yun yung NFT. That's why sa mga play-to-earn games, may mga certain characters na NFT na you won't appreciate pero sobrang mahal ng value. It even reach hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, ganun yung value ng mga yon. So, ibig sabihin, the virtual world, sobrang lawak na ng virtual currencies. That's why we have virtual assets, which we call NFT. Ayan, so ngayon, what we are introducing is play to earn. When we say play to earn, ito na yung combination ng virtual assets na cryptocurrencies, mga tokens, and NFTs. Okay, so yan ang play to earn. So later on, we will discuss based sa mga questions kung ano talaga yung pinopromote naming game, which is Rooster Wars. Okay, so that's my opening statement, sir.
Thank you very much. Ikaw yung thank you dito. Kaya most of the people here didn't thank you. Kaya na-explain mo konti. Thank you very much to everyone. Mayroon pa isa dito, Mr. Michael John Peña. Nasa online dyan, no?
Yes po, nasa Zoom. Yes, hi.
The officer ng Meta.
All right. Hi, everyone. So I'm MJ tawag sa akin dito. So I'm the CTO of Metadana. So one of the key goals ng Metadana in terms of technologies, number one, this time around, we want to build something wherein it's Philippines or Filipinos, tayo yung producer, no? Hindi lang tayo consumer, hindi lang tayo manager, or hindi lang tayo nasa consumer side ng the fence. So this time around, we want to build really something, na tayo yung mismo gumagawa, na pwede natin ipagmalaki na proudly Pinoy. Second is, based from my experience, I've worked with a lot of really complicated and complex software systems. So I've been coding since a very, very young age. So, one of the goals na talagang pinupundar ko dito sa Metadana is we want to build something for scale, no, na ibig sabihin, gusto natin kahit million na or even billion maging players natin sa ecosystem, gusto natin i-make sure na yung mga sistema natin hindi magda-down or hindi mabagal. So, yun yung talagang key focus ko para sa team natin. Alright, that's it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael John Peña. Siguro kailangan dyan ng Comelec para hindi mag-down ang election system technology. Thank you very much for your opening statement. May tanong dito kanina si Mr. Benedict Abay ng Manila Times. Ang tanong niya kaninang umaga pa when he came here, sabi niya, is this a form of gambling like E-Sabong? Yan ang tanong ni Mr. Benedict Abaygar of Manila Times. Diyan na po.
Hi. Hello po, Sir Benedict. Actually, ano ba? Rooster Wars po is not gambling. We would like to make that clear. So, dinesign po namin yung Rooster Wars. Ano siya? It's actually a fighting game. So, para siya, if you guys are familiar with Street Fighter or Tekken, ganyan, pinormat siya according to that. Pero mas simplified lang yung gameplay according to, parang galaro ka lang ng bato-bato. Bato-bato pick siya, actually. Pero may added lang siya na depth. Later, we'll discuss ni Sir Ben Banta how exactly the gameplay works. Pero basically, Rooster Wars is a skill-based competitive game. So, kumbaga, ako, kunyari, kami ni Jed naglaro, I can control my own way of strategizing the game. And I can control kung paano ako mananalo. Ako rin yung mag-influence kung paano ako matatalo. So, actually, pinaposition namin siya na maging competitive as an esports format. And itong gameplay na to is actually something unique and original compared to other play-to-earn games out there on the market right now. Ngayon kasi puros card games.
Ay, microphone. Pag-iabot microphone kay Mr. Benedict Abaygar. Pwede isang microphone ng assist.
Sir, paano yun na may involved dito yung yung cryptocurrency? Paano hindi na gagamit na rin to, gambling sa mga kabataan?
Yung cryptocurrency po, ang involvement ng cryptocurrency dyan is for rewarding, para ma-facilitate yung reward system kung paano gagana yung play-to-earn aspect of itself. So, cryptocurrency, yes, sa simula parang ginamit siya sa gambling before, but ngayon kasi marami na po siyang utilities. So, nag-evolve na po yung crypto to a point where programmable na yung currencies niya and yung mga way to balance yung mga liquidity, mga ganong stuff. So, kumbaga, yun yung blockchain and yung cryptocurrency part. Yun yung nagpa-facilitate kung paano nagkakaroon ng earnings within the whole game and ecosystem of it.
Pwede rin ang pustahan dito?
Hindi po at the onset. Hindi siya namin sila. Hindi namin siya priority. Pero ang goal namin sa game actually na yan, yung buong format is to make it open source and kumbaga madaling i-program ng anybody. Kasi yun po yung talaga. When you, Rooster Wars is a Web3 product. So that's kind of a buzzy word, I'm sure, for you guys, Web3. So it's mamaya i-explain siguro explain ni MJ later on what is Web3 and what is Web2. So Web3 kasi in essence, kumbaga, ang pinopromote nun is kumbaga ownership of everybody. Web2 kasi is ownership by a central company na sila lang nagde-decide how it's used, how it's done, whatever. Pero sa Web3 kasi, it's all about the community. That's why it's very important. And yung users itself. So our end goal is to gawing open source siya. Yung buong game na yun itself. That, you can make your own game. Someone can make their own sarili ng diskarte, how they do it. Yun.
So, kailan po ito nag-start mag-operate? Sa isang araw? Sa ilan ng mga gamers?
Actually, hindi. We're still on pre-launch. Ilo-launch pa lang po namin siya actually. Next month. But we're gaining steam already in terms of interest in the community. So, yun, marami na mga nag-sign up. Marami na rin bumili initially ng eggs. So, ang initial naming in the market is yung NFT eggs. Kumbaga, siya, itlog na virtual na you can use in the game. Yun po yung binenta namin. So far, there's like 5,000 sales, 4,000. 4 or 5,000 nung sales ng egg na yun. Yun po.
Ang mangyayaring pustahan katulad ng E-Sabong.
Wala. As of now, hindi pa po. Pero, as I've said earlier, like, yung pagiging open source niya, that's, someone might decide to do it, because it will be open source. But it may or might not be developed by us. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Benedict Abayno of Manila Times. May tanong dito from Mr. Risa Medjabilio. Sabi niya, ito ba pareho pa to sa ML o Mobile Legends? Is it similar daw? Tanong Mr. Risa.
Ayan. So, siguro, in essence of a game, parehas. Diba? Even ML, makikita naman natin, it's also a competitive game. Okay? So, siguro, the difference lang neto is this is play-to-earn game. So, ibig sabihin, ayun nga, it involves NFT and crypto in a way na talagang magkakaroon ka ng income through that. Kasi ang ML, alam naman natin free-to-play ito. So, anyone can just enter the game, anyone can just create account, diba? Anyone can just play the game. So, pagdating sa play-to-earn game, of course, there's a capital needed and syempre, may earning din na involved. Siguro, yun yung difference niya. But they are both games naman. Okay, so yun yung difference ng dalawa.
Thank you very much. May tanong dito from Rainier. Sabi niya, can you do a tax collecting component in the token system with a tax collecting component for the government or the BIR? Tanong ito from Rainier. Yes.
Tax collection.
Yes, can you do a tax collecting component in this token system with a tax collecting component for the government or the Bureau of Internal Revenue, BIR?
I think, wait, is MJ on? I think he'll answer this question.
MJ is Michael John Peña.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi.
Sa Zoom.
All right. Hi, everyone. So very interesting question, no? And this actually gets asked most of the time. So I think merong 3 layers tayong kailangan i-consider dito, no? So una, we have to define what is a taxable event. So yun yung unang layer na kailangan natin i-define. For example, by the time ba nakapag kinonvert mo yung token into peso, yun ba yung taxable event? Or are we talking about each and every time na mag-earn ka ng token, taxable event na ba siya? So I think that's the first thing we have to define. No? And, with the work of everyone, not just, Metadana, government and the rest of, the ecosystem, we have to lay that out first. No? Kailangan muna natin siyang i-define talaga. What is a taxable event? The second part is, as part ng taxable event, we have to also define ano yung mga rules and regulations around it. Like for example, right now sa employment, di ba? May mga bracketing system tayo. So, I think that's also something we have to lay out, a second part ng definition ng taxable event. So, for example, kapag nag-withdraw ba ng 50,000 worth of token into cash, ilan yung percentage nun, di ba, na kakaltasan natin for tax? So, or, di ba, parang magkaiba ba yung mag-withdraw ka ng 50,000 sa 10 million? O baka one-time fee lang, 1,000 pesos regardless kung magkano, di ba? So, that's something we also have to define. And yung third layer, which is a very trivial part, is paano yung mga P2P markets, di ba? Kasi ang promise ng blockchain or decentralization is at some point we want to have less friction when doing transactions, no? So for example, me and Mick, gusto lang namin mag-swap ng roosters namin, di ba? Tataksan pa ba kami sa mga ganong bagay, di ba? So as part ng third layer ng question is ano yung maka-classify nating business transaction and personal transaction? So, yun lang yung side ko doon. No? So, the answer is, tech-wise, it's possible one way or the other, but then we have to create the definition first. No? Kung ano ba yung taxable events. So,
hawak ninyo yung game sa phone for photo op. Smile lang for the camera. Thank you.
Thank you.
May tanong dito. How does Rooster Wars work and how does it, ito kanina minention niya, no? Where do you see the game in a year? When do you see the game in a year? Where pala? What are your plans for sustainability of this game? Why should gaming guilds even look at Rooster Wars? Tatlong tanong. Sorry. Tatlong tanong, ulitin ko lang. Where do you see the game a year from now? What are your plans for sustainability? Number 3, why should gaming guilds have a look at Rooster Wars? May gaming guilds pala sa mundo.
Of course, sir. Maraming gaming. Yes, there's plenty of gaming guilds. In terms of where we see it developing. So Rooster Wars, yung fighting aspect nun is just one aspect of it. Yun yung pinakaunang-unang version na ilalabas namin. Kasi yun yung fun part, right? Yun yung laban. Yun yung fighting game. Yung next niyan, magkakaroon din siya ng breeding. Like, pwede mong i-replicate yung mga existing na roosters. And then, meron kang digital na hen na pwede kang maggawa ng new hens. Ang next stage nun, phase 3, meron kaming land, digital land, and mga buildables. So, basically, yung function na yun, lalagyan namin ng utility yung ownership of a digital land. Pwede kang maggawa ng sarili mong arena. Pwede kang maggawa ng sarili mong digital farming or trade mo yung mga roosters mo the same way you do in the real world. Pero yung magiging main utility talaga ng ownership of the land is pwede kang gumawa, like what I've said to sir earlier, pwede kang gumawa ng sarili mong game modes. So, ang end game namin dito is we want to make the Rooster Wars, everything about it, yung data nun, yung gameplay, pwede mong ma-customize as the landowner. Ibig sabihin, pwede kang maggawa ng sarili mong liga sa sarili mong digital land and kumbaga, magkaroon ng sariling business ecosystem sa loob ng game itself na outside na of our control. Yun yung aspect nun na bago in terms of gaming kasi usually kapag gaming like someone asked earlier sa ML, right? Ang may 100% full control nun is yung company that owns ML itself. But you know what's different about Rooster Wars? Yung gamers itself, the community are active members of the gaming ecosystem, and you're free to monetize it or run business in the game.
You just answered isang next question. Tama ba ito? Ano dito? Is Rooster Wars centralized or decentralized? Yung ba sinagot mo yan?
Ay, ang sinagot ko po yung sa yung 1 year.
Thank you.
It's sustainable.
Why should gaming guilds have a look at Rooster Wars?
Ayan, sa Jed.
Ayan. Actually, sir, you are asking, no, may ganun pala, no? So, I have my own gaming guild, which have more than 500 scholars. Actually, some of them are watching.
Sorry, pag-explain what is a gaming guild for non-techie, people.
Okay. So, actually, I'm not a gamer, but I have my own gaming guild. In fact, if you will search my phone, ang laman nito yung mga word search, mga ganyan, iba yung mga game na lang talaga, mini games. But I have my own gaming guild. I am the founder of Prodigy Metaverse Community. In fact, some of them are watching right now. Ayan, shoutout ko na rin yung mga Prodigy Metaverse Community. So what are gaming guilds? Gaming guilds are basically group na talagang they focus more on gaming. Especially, na-solidify itong mga gaming guilds when play-to-earn games are introduced. Okay, kasi sa play-to-earn games, like one game that we are playing, we cannot play it alone. We need people that will play it, and then yung income nung game na yon magiging hati si player and si owner. Okay, so we are basically the ones owning the NFTs ng mga games na yon, and we have our, what we call them, our scholars. Okay, we have scholars, and these scholars are the ones playing. So hati kami ngayon ng scholars. So in return, we have scholars na very thankful because it's a way of helping them. They don't have enough money to enter the game. So we are the ones paying it, and then they are just making money. In fact, when we had the peak of one of our games that we played, we experienced that we have some teenagers who earned around 50 to 60,000 pesos in a week. So naging very beneficial talaga itong gaming guilds. Okay? So because of that, dumami yung mga gaming guilds right now. In fact, one of the biggest gaming guilds in Philippines, they have more than 20,000 scholars right now. Okay? So our own, hindi pa ito malaking gaming guild talaga. So now these gaming guilds are now becoming the trend. So if there are new games like this, there are gaming guilds na talagang pumapasok sa game. So right now, Metadana, our community, Prodigy Metaverse community is a partner of Metadana. So we are one of the guilds na talagang nag-involve dito. And the big question is why? Actually, sir, the answer to the question is also your second question, the sustainability. Okay, we experienced the peak of our income, sobrang taas talaga. And then right now, some of the games that we are playing, sobrang baba ng income. So some of our scholars, umaayaw na, and right now, we are having problem. Kasi before, ang daming nagmamakaawa to have an account, but right now, madaming mga nag-quit sa account. Why? Because some of the games are not sustainable. Now, before I partnered with Metadana, talagang in-study ko itong Rooster Wars, and I saw that on all of the games, Rooster Wars is offering something na hindi ko nakita on other games. Okay, ano yon? Yun yung sustainability, which is the burning mechanism. Let me tell you honestly, play-to-earn game is becoming like network marketing right now. Okay? Ang key, you need new people para magkaroon ng income sa game. So the past games na nilalaro namin, if there are no new people na sumasali sa game, nawawala ng value yung game. We call it Ponzi. Ponzi scheme. Okay? But Rooster Wars is very good because it is very sustainable. In fact, we are now offering a subscription model. When we say subscription, it means for you to play your Rooster every 45 days, you need to revitalize it. And ang nakita ko, at least, even if there's no new people na magjo-join sa game, in fact, we limit our players sa first 6 months netong game. Kahit walang new players na pumasok, our own people na naglalaro sa game, we are sure na yung value ng aming token talagang sustained. And for me, ito yung wala sa mga games na pinapasok ng guilds like us. We have several games na nilalaro, and to tell you honestly, pag-pump nung token, unti-unti magda-down na yan. Kaya ang inahabol ng lahat, before pump, sali kami, then bago mag-down, ayaw na kami. But for Rooster Wars, I believe it will be long-term kasi nga, every 45 days, you need to revitalize your NFT, your Rooster. Hindi nawawala, sa'yo pa din yon, but you need to revitalize it. So, I think that's, in terms of sustainability, yun yung answer doon. And in terms of why gaming guilds like us kailangan pumasok is because of the sustainability. This is the first model na nakitaan ko ng ganun. Okay, so I think that's the answer.
Thank you. May tanong dito, anong age group ang pinakasikat itong Rooster Wars and this type of games? Anong age demographic sa Pilipinas ang target market nyo or most popular dito? Anong age group?
In terms of demographics sa NFT games, ito sa atin nag-range siya from the late teens up to 35, even up to 50, 60 people are playing it. Kasi
all ages pwede.
Pretty much all ages. Ang naging trend kasi, the reason why nag-pick up itong play to earn sa atin, like last year, kasi ang nangyari, ginawa siyang tinrato siya ng mga negosyante dito sa atin as if it's a taxi business. Like yung guild ni Jet. Ang daigin diskarte is like, bibili ng X amount of NFTs. Kasi NFT yun yung character mo sa game. Eh, may mga ibang tao na can't afford these NFTs. Like last year, before, when nag-pump yung isang game, mabot ng kada isang team, 200,000 kada isa. Pero, bumibili pa rin. And the reason why is yung mga enterprising na Filipinos thought na, okay, bili tayo ng ganito karaming team tapos palaro natin sa iba and then split na lang ng revenue depende dun sa game. So that's how it all snowballed. And actually, ngayon, in the whole world, ang number one sa NFT is Philippines. So actually, yung key market ngayon na tinitignan ng everyone in the whole world is Philippines. Yes, in the world, Philippines is the largest. In fact, ang daily volume, meaning yung daily transaction volume, size ng market ng NFT ngayon, at one point in time, is like nasa almost $1 billion a day. Maabot na ganun.
Champion ng Pilipinas sa mga
Yes, yes,
sa
yes.
Facebook game, ano pa? Yung mga internet, ano? Oo.
Yes. Champion din ng Pilipinas pagdating sa NFT. And halos kalahati. Yes. Between 30 to, it's the biggest game right
What are the top 3 countries aside from the Philippines?
Top 3 countries sa NFT, off the top of my head, I think Philippines. Number 2 would be Thailand, and then Indonesia, Brazil, South American countries, then Africa. Actually, it's pretty big.
May tanong dito pala, sorry may tanong dito, I'm not an expert. Kasi hindi ko maintindihan yung technical na tanong Have you already presented that to Gabby Bison of YGG? Ano yung YGG? Saka sino si Gabby Bison? Sorry. Hindi ko alam na.
Maybe Sir Ben can answer that.
Sabi niya, have you already presented that to Gabby Bison of YGG? Question from Rainier. I don't know what is YGG and who is Gabby Bison.
Sir Ben, personally, I haven't met him yet. Sir Ben can elaborate on that. Sir Ben.
Mr. Ben Joseph Banta.
YGG is Yield Games, and bali, I actually presented na yung Rooster Wars to Gabby before. However, the game was declined by them before because of it being Rooster Wars. But like we said, Rooster Wars is not gambling. It is though heavily influenced siya ng kultura natin, which is yung sabong. Pero we do not promote yung blood sport. Yun yung malaking difference between Rooster Wars and ng sabong. Although pareho silang may manok, pero Rooster Wars is not promoting blood sport. And just to let everyone know, Rooster Wars have its own lore. Meron siyang sariling mundo na walang tao. Imagine Zootopia or Cars, wherein walang tao involved sa world na yun, and yung world na yun is yung ganun yung Rooster Wars. So in terms of question, yes, I met Gabby Dizon. I've been in the game industry then ever since, and unfortunately, we showed Rooster Wars to him. I did mention, pero it's very early pa nung time na yun, nung kinausap namin siya about sa Rooster Wars. And yun nga, though he declined, he is very open naman for other projects. So yun, so yun po yung answer ko dun.
Joseph Banta. Benedict Abaytar. Are there plans to make Rooster Wars gambling?
Hello.
Are there plans in the future?
Us as a company, no. Hindi namin siya, it's not in our immediate roadmap. But as I said earlier, yung sa land, and pag umabot na sa point na yun, and we also open source the actual game, wherein other people can make their own game modes, and make their own arenas, run their own league, run all those things. Well, kung ano man yung gawin ng mga ibang players, whether gawin nilang pusahan yan or not, it's on their hands. Kasi we're leaving an element of the game na the community is free to do whatever they want with it. So that might include gambling, we don't know. But us, hindi namin, wala yun sa immediate namin.
So this is, may tanong naman dito, how does your technology scale up to millions of players? How does your tech scale up to millions of players?
Okay, that's an MJ question. That's an MJ question.
MJ is Michael John Pena.
Yeah.
Paano daw scale up to millions of players?
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for that question. So I think there are many aspects to that question. So unang question that we have to answer, that Mick, Jed, and the rest of the team can answer is, how do we have millions of players? There's that, different side of question na yun at kailangan nating sagutin. Then on the other hand, paano natin ma-enable na yung game? Kahit na milyon na yung naglalaro, hindi siya magda-down, hindi siya magka-crash. So the way namin siya binubuo right now, it's very clear kung ano yung mga data na ma-i-store centralized, anything that's game related or yung parang game logs related, hindi na namin siya ilalagay sa blockchain. Hindi, yung mga malalaking assets, mga ganyan, hindi na namin siya ilalagay sa blockchain because of the viability aspect of it. However, one thing na the way namin binibuild yung mga systems is just like how we build enterprise or really, big companies right now on kung paano nag-i-scale yung mga applications nila. I am fortunate enough to have experienced that in the past decade on how to really build systems that will scale and will not, na hindi abutin ng 2 to 3 days bago ma-resolve. No? So, although very early phase right now, but then I'm very confident with the current skill set that we have and the current technology direction na pupuntahan namin. I'm very confident na ma-achieve natin yun.
Ms. Bernie Caliles of Manila Bulletin. Sabi niya, if it's possible to include tax collection in the software development, how big is the value generated from NFT and how much do you think is taxable? Sabi ni Ms. Bernie Caliles of Manila Bulletin also, how big is the NFT industry now in the Philippines or in the world? And what is the great growth projection? Isa pa, last question. How can one be a player? Ulitin natin, is it possible to include tax collection in your software development? At saka, how big is the NFT industry now and growth projections nyo?
Okay. MJ previously answered that software development part. Basically, in terms of it being included in the tax in the software development, it's a matter of identifying specifically what event of the whole transaction process is taxable. Technically, it's very realistic and possible to do na automatic na kunyari may wallet yung government, automatic may mapupunta doon. But again, as of right now, the regulations is not clear in terms of what is a taxable event, which of this part is taxable, kung saan sila kakam in. Is it on the conversion of the token to the Philippine peso? Is it the actual gaining of a person's tokens from the game? We don't know. It's not very clear.
Laws of the Philippines are not yet very about NFT.
Yes. It's not yet developed, but we are very much into it, and we are very much willing to work with the regulatory agencies with it, and it would be a great honor for us to do so. Honestly, it's something very exciting for me, and I would us as a group will be very pleased to work with the government with that direction.
So very good. You are very open to working with government and legislators to fine tune or to include tax collection as a possible future.
Yeah. We would definitely. We would like to help in figuring that out in one way or another. In terms of ano yung next question?
May tanong ba si Ms. Bernie Cahiles? How big is the NFT industry now? Okay. And what are the growth projections? Maybe in the Philippines or
globally, I think right now, ano siya, last I checked, it's already 5 billion, I think multi-billion-dollar industry. Parang ang last quarter, I think from ngayon, from December to February, it's around $5 billion yung size, and yung transaction, meaning yung number of volume coming in and out sa NFT. And what's interesting is Philippines is actually one of the highest trading volume. Nagko-command yung Philippines ng at least a good chunk of that. And parang sa pinakamalaking NFT game ngayon, yung Axie that everybody already knows now.
How do you spell Axie?
AXIE.
Axie.
Yeah, yung Axie ngayon.
So, it's a Filipino game?
No. It's made by a foreign developer.
But the Philippines is a major...
Yes, it's a major market. So, so sa NFT ngayon actually, dun sa game na yun, ang nag-average sila between 30 million to 100 million dollars. At one point in time, the biggest volume was 150 million dollars.
So maganda ito what you're doing here, your group. You are the Filipino version of NFT. Parang kayo yung Jollibee.
Yes.
Parang yun.
Something like that.
To make it more...
Yeah. You get it.
Kasi sorry, hindi ako gaming tsaka techie person.
Correct, sir.
So parang what we are saying here, yung Axie and all that, sila yung McDo and...
Correct.
And the group talking here now, kayo ang Jollibee.
Yes.
And Tropical Hub.
Yes. Yeah, that's an interest.
Local version.
Yes, sariling atin. In other words.
So you are doing some good for the Philippines pala.
Correct.
Kasi the Philippines is a major, parang Facebook, we are world leader also in Facebook. Even in di ba there's a news about yung porn something, we're number one in the world also. Diba? We always number one in all these.
In everything, yeah.
So what you're doing now, in the gaming and NFT field, you are trying to give Philippines a local.
Of course, yes.
Ang galing nyo.
So, ayun po, in terms of size, number one actually Philippines. Lahat ng mga NFT gaming companies are trying to get into the Philippines because yun nga, dun sa just to give you an idea, yung sa numbers ng Axie na yun, they generate between 30 million to 150 million. At one point in time, average
30 million
US dollars. Volume, araw-araw. Every day. And at 30
we are a major market.
Yes, 30 to 40% of that is actually money from here. So it's quite
may ganyan market para Pilipinas.
Yes. Yes, so
ito lang dito si Miss Bernie Cahiles. How can a person be a player? Yan, people like me na walang alam sa ganyan. How can a person be a player?
Yeah. Ito, sagutin ko muna sir yung isa. Yung growth projection actually.
Growth projection for NFT.
Growth in terms of growth projection. So there's been a lot of studies and research already about NFT penetration. And then dito sa atin actually, according to research, parang at least 40% of the population already knows about it, and the other 40% and the other remaining percent are aware of it, are just not yet taking action. So the growth rate is quite high. People are already making full-time income out of crypto and playing NFT games, through the gaming guilds that kind of came out of nowhere last year. So ayun, so ano na siya. So it's an emerging tech. And alam niyo naman dito sa atin pagka alam na pagkakakitaan, lalo na video games na dating hindi naman kumikita mga tao dyan. Pero ngayon kumikita na. Yung mga Pinoy, alam naman natin pagdating sa...
sa mga ML na walang kumikita.
Yes, of course. Of course. Kasi before, you don't... Kasi sa dati na... dati naman talaga mga Pinoy, di ba? Mahilig naman talaga mga Pinoy sa ganyan. So, ayun, in terms of getting into it, ngayon nagiging madali na rin. You can convert your coins or your peso to... cryptocurrency like say Ethereum or Polygon, ganyan, Binance Coin. There's many outlets to do it right now. And
Thank you sa questions from Miss Bernie Cahiles. May tanong pa dito iba. Those are questions from Miss Bernie Cahiles of Manila Bulletin. Ito naman, question from Mr. Ivan Saldaheno. Is your game counted as esports? Tanong ni Mr. Ivan Saldaheno.
Yeah, so we are designing the game so it becomes competitive enough na pwede siya magamit as esports. Ano siya fighting game nga siya. Na kaya mo talaga kontrolin how you your own way of games. Si Sir Ben can explain a little bit on in terms of the gameplay. Yeah.
Is like esports daw, sabi ni Mr. Ivan Saldaheno.
We designed yung Rooster Wars to be competitive. although yung controls natin, yung gameplay natin is very simple. Jack and Poy siya, di ba? Pero it involves a lot of strategy, and depth. We have gaff and gems na inad namin sa gameplay. Yung gems is nilalagay mo yun dun sa gaff para magdagdag din kasi yon ng effect dun sa lakas nung bawat roosters mo. So depende rin sa setup na gagawin ng bawat players and sa strategy na gagawin nila kung paano sila mananalo. So lahat 'yon ay kontrolado nila. So in that term, yes, very good for esports ang game na Rooster Wars. As I recall, I think sa Japan nga meron silang talagang tournament nga na Jack and Poy lang talaga yung ginagawa nila. So kaya yung for Rooster Wars, ano talaga to? If we are going to someday pag pwede na talaga magkaroon na tayo ng malakihang event, pwede natin gawing event ang Rooster Wars for esports talaga.
May tanong pa dito from Mr. Alan Gatos. Parang sabong din ba ito? Tanong ni Mr. Alan Gatos.
It's a fighting game. So technically you kind of called it that, pero hindi siya gambling. So para lang siyang fighting game na regular like Street Fighter or Tekken, ganyan. Pero again, hindi po siya sugal. It's not in our immediate roadmap. It's not in our roadmap. Yun, hindi siya. And no actual animals are getting harmed in Sabong.
May tanong pa dito from Rainier. Rooster fighting game, but there is also breeding component, right?
Yes, there is a breeding component. That will come a bit later on release. Yes. Yes, may breeding po siya. May breeding siya.
May follow-up pa siya. One can also compete by racing fighting roosters like Axie.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Yes. Meron siyang. Yes, you can. Ay, sige.
So actually, I can add up sa breeding kasi yun nga, our guild actually is on Axie. And sir, I am a heavy breeder of Axie. Sa breeding kasi nakaka-excite siya. There are new skill set, new combinations na lumalabas. So it's very exciting. So I think sa Rooster Wars, magiging exciting part din natin yung breeding. Kasi from pure breed, magkakaroon ng mga halo-halo na yung breeding eh. So it will be an exciting part of the game as well.
Ay, may pa ditong tanong. Have you done, sorry, hindi ko maintindihan ng tanong.
ICO. Okay.
Have you done an ICO of Rooster Wars token or NFT eggs? Hindi pa ko,
Actually, not yet. So we're still on pre-sale and private sale. Yung IDO namin will come sometime April. We're targeting the month of April for IDO. In terms of, ang una po namin ngayon is what's gonna come ngayong March is yung initial NFT offering, which is you can buy na the roosters, the eggs, na yung gagamitin mong character in the game. So yun po. Yung IDO or ICO, next month pa yan, sa April.
Thank you. May comment si Mr. Michael John Peña, Chief Technology Officer ng Metadana. MJ Peña.
Yes, hi. So right now, okay, so two things regards to sa ICO. So right now, yun nga, pre-sale pa lang kami. But then long-term plan in terms of the token is more than just the Rooster Wars. Meron kaming upcoming na mga much more complicated calculus and derivatives na gagawin under the hood later on for those who really want to pursue yung financial instruments ng tokens, no? So for those asking about those complex DeFi or decentralized finance instruments, yes, that's in the plan. We'll do that at some point. Then the other part is nabanggit kasi kanina about yung sa tax events and stuff like that. And we want to help with the government. Another aspect of what we also want to pioneer and help the government with is yung regulations, no? Because right now the whole industry is very unregulated, no, I would say. But at the same time, we don't want it to be over-regulated na hindi naman makapaggawa or innovate or produce yung mga developers like us. So, for example, one aspect I'm thinking of now we want to pioneer in regulation is we want to regulate developers who are raising funds. No, na, for example, liability clause and stuff like that. So that, kasi nauuso ngayon yung term na rug pull wherein nag-raise ng money, then pumatras, di ba? So, saan napunta yung pera? So, I think that's, personal and the wider executive team ng Metadana, we're anti-fraud and we're anti, that sketchy part of the business. So, we want to be on the good side of the fence on that, front. Then, then the other part is we also want to work with, the rest of the Filipino people na how do we make it, a sustainable, not just for the game itself, but maybe something na magiging world export na makakontribute na talaga sa GDP natin. No? So yeah, that's also another big thing that we're really focusing on long term.
And yeah, for those na baka hindi niya narinig, sinabi niya na okay sila to work with government in the future about taxes, how to generate taxes. And ang sabi pa ni MJ Peña, he hopes there will be more regulation na wag lang sobrang regulation kasi totally unregulated daw, di ba? May mga minsan fraud o ano. Kaya tapos gusto niya, ang ganda na sinabi niya, he wants this game of yours to be a future exports of the Philippines and to contribute to Philippine GDP. Kailangan natin yan economic growth. Si Mr. Benedict Abaycar of Manila Times has question.
I'm sure familiar na sa Mobile Legends, diba? At yung possibility na mauuwi nito sa parang ganong kalintod ng Mobile Legends. Kasi sa lugar lang namin, napapansin ko, kapag gabi may mga kabataan, dumarami sila, parang magkukumpul-kumpul, anong inalapok, nilang nilalaro nila at meron din parang pustahan sa mga ganyan. Alam din pa mga Pinoy, napakahilig sa pustahan, di ba?
So, may pustahan nila sa election. So, ML daw, will it become like ML in some ways?
Actually, sir, play-to-earn game is really growing fast na sobrang hindi na namin notice. Like one time, Axie Infinity, there are even places na magugulat kami na may naglalaro ng Axie Infinity. They knew Axie Infinity. I think siguro ang naging instrument ng play-to-earn is because of the earning side. Diba? We're in ang Mobile Legend, wala naman talagang ganun. Ang earning side lang nila pag ginawang pustahan. And alam nyo, medyo malikot ang utak ng mga Filipinos pagka mayroong pagkakakitaan, gusto talaga natin. Diba? So yung Mobile Legends, hindi naman part ng game nila yung pustahan, but they just created it. Pero ang naging maganda, Axie Infinity, hindi because of pustahan, because meron talagang earning sa game. Kaya kumalat din siya. In fact, yes sir, yes po. Yes, yes. So even other places, nagugulat ako, may isang place akong pupuntahan. I think nung nagpa-vaccine ako, nagugulat ako habang nakapila sa vaccination, may mga groups na naglalaro ng Axie Infinity. Di ba? Mga nagpapa-vaccine din. Yan. So talagang nakita natin, it became widespread talaga. So ayun, our goal is to be like that as well.
You want to be the reality of...
Yes, sir.
Anong category ito? Gaming?
NFT game. NFT game. Yeah.
NFT gaming. Yes.
You want to be the Jollibee of NFT game.
Of course.
To be the Filipino version of Axie.
Yeah.
McDonald's of NFT.
Yeah, and more than that, we want to trailblaze sa NFT gaming. So in terms of our overall vision and what we want to achieve as a company, kasi 'di ba pag tayo Pilipino inisip, kinopya lang sa ganito, ginawa ganyan. No, sa amin actually as much as possible make our original things.
Where did this motivation come from? But, 'di ba, maraming tao dito kontento lang maging consumer.
Yes.
Buyers.
Correct.
Bakit wala tayong Twitter na Filipino version, wala tayong Facebook na Filipino version? How come we don't have a Filipino version of Instagram?
Yeah.
China has everything.
Yeah.
How come you talk about NFT game na ba't kayo nagkaroon ng lakas ng loob and vision or ambition na gumawa ng Filipino version of this NFT game.
Okay.
Sino nag-isip niyan? Why?
Ako. Ako yung nag-isip. Actually, us, the entire consortium of Metadana, we've been involved in many different large-scale projects. All of us in the group. Like me personally, my bread and butter is digital marketing. I have a marketing agency. So,
digital marketing
for 13 years.
Anong part of digital marketing? YouTube?
Lahat, everything.
Wow.
So companies consult with me. Many different.
No election candidates.
No election candidates.
This election is swayed by.
No, hindi naman. So many startups and companies all across the globe. They're both here in Australia and US and many other countries. They hire me to for growth. So I help many different companies across the globe grow their brand, grow their business large scale ad campaigns. So same, like would you believe it na meron na palang Filipino na animation studio na gumawa ng actual anime sa Netflix. No one even knows about it. Hindi alam ng mga tao. Pero one of our core group member, si Sir Jimmy, he's actually been credited on Netflix. Na may ginawa na silang mga ganong projects sa Netflix and many other animes, including sila Sir Ben, also MJ. So he's been involved in large-scale projects like that are really impacting millions of people across the globe, but no one knows about it. Na mayroon palang Pilipino doon. So we thought about this idea. Kumbaga kasi kami, we're already confident naman sa skills namin. People pay us to do that. But this time we wanted to make it different. We want to create things. We want to...
you want to be the creator.
Yes, we want to be the creator, not simply, hard to do this, hard to do that, and then get someone else, other people benefit.
For, kasi we are known to be a country of consumers, importers.
Correct. This
we
time,
are only buyers. We don't produce.
Correct. So we want to be, we want to produce. That's what we want to make different. So there's many different, one way or another, not just NFT games. What na pinagkakakitaan tayo.
Pwede daw hanapin. Kunyari, somebody out there wants to join or wants to, may Facebook pa kayo, may Instagram, may...
Yes.
Online presence.
Yes. So we have a website, metadana.io, or sa Facebook namin, you can find us. Yung Rooster Wars yan, you can just search on Facebook. You'll find us.
Rooster Wars na naman.
Yeah. So,
how do you production?
Okay, so si Jed can answer one part.
So, sir, yun nga. Right now, we have more than 560 sa guild namin. Okay, so because we really need gamers. Especially when Rooster Wars will be launching na, ang tinatarget ng guild namin is 3,000 players. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan namin kumuha ng ganun karaming. So, all my network of churches, talagang kinakausap ko na ngayon na, yes sir, April, na may games. So, yung mga youth na mga gustong mag-indulge sa game, talagang kukunin namin sila. Kasi minimum, actually, that's the minimum in our, sa launching that's the minimum in our guild. We are not yet talking yung ibang guilds pa na magiging part din ng game. So imagine the total number of people that can really benefit dito sa ganitong klaseng play-to-earn game.
Sorry, may tanong dito. Do you think taxation at this early stage will hinder Metadana from developing Rooster Wars?
Again, in terms of taxation, not exactly a hindrance, I would say. But yeah, we're open to talking about it. Kasi ngayon sa totoo lang, hindi talaga siya clear. What is a taxable event? What part of it is taxable? We would like to figure it out also.
Yes. Follow up. How to pay out the money that you are earning from those games such as Axie Infinity and Rooster Wars? Thank you, Dom. This is a question from Ayak Ramor. Magiging new player ninyo. Miss Ayak Ramor, sabi niya, how to pay out the money that you are earning from those games such as Axie Infinity and Rooster War?
Okay, so basically sa Axie Infinity muna po. Sa Axie Infinity kasi, once we claim yung mga na-farm po na tokens, we actually exchange it sa Binance. And ang ginagawa namin, we exchange it all at once para medyo mas malaki yung value and then mas mababa yung mga gas fees. Okay, but in Rooster Wars actually, our exchange will be on Polygon. Okay, so there are lots of wallets na actually ngayon na you can exchange your tokens. So yun naman ang kagandahan. All play-to-earn games are very accessible na yung mga tokens and sobrang dali na i-exchange. And by the way, sir, to answer the question kasi kanina, di ba, parang jobs yung tinanong. Actually, what we are promoting is not jobs, but digital entrepreneurship. So at a young age, we are teaching people to become digital entrepreneurs. It means na talagang they will make their own money through digital entrepreneurship na lang. Okay.
Very interesting, ha. Sorry, we lost time na kasi tapos na ang mga time for the questions. If you have further questions, you could just message sila. They are on Facebook and online present. We'd like to thank them for this crash course on NFT games na open ang eyes to this new world. Can we request the panelists to give their closing statements to summarize their points and their ideas? Let's start with Mr. Mikhail John Peñalosa, CEO Metadana Studio.
Yeah, so...
How old are you? Ang galing mo, mga bata. Mga ganyan sa, ikit sa technical bata. Anong edad mo? 20 ka na, 25?
Oh, wow, thank you. Actually, I just turned 34 today. So...
Oh, wow, happy birthday. Happy birthday niya, naman tayo birthday cake ka lang. Happy birthday, 34 ko na wala. At yung natanong bigla, o kasi mukhang bata, ang daming alam eh. Uy, Albert, birthday pala niya, hindi mo alam. Birthday niya today. 34. Last question yun eh.
Ayun. So, in closing, ayun lang. So as you know, mas in the dawn of time, right, dito sa atin sa Philippines, we've been monetized by outside forces for since the dawn of time. But even on the NFT gaming space, you know, the biggest market is the Philippines. This time we want to do something different. Na ngayon tayo naman nagke-create. And then we're targeting our own people, you know, that benefits also the country. So that's what we would like to, yun lang.
Sorry, last question pala. This is from me naman, from me. Di ba sa stock exchange ng Pilipinas, tama ba Mr. Reyes? Totoo ba, in the stock exchange ng Pilipinas, there's a board for tech companies na kahit na bago o open to it? In the future, are you open to that in the future?
Yeah. IPO parang ganun ba? Yeah, if it becomes interesting and it makes sense in the future, definitely we will pursue that. Kami naman, we're always open so sa mga ganyang bagay, regulation, all those things. So we're open to it.
Thank you very much. Ang galing. Sinabi niya na open ng eyes ko. Imagine Albert, hindi ko pa na alam, sabi pa rin niya, the Philippines is the largest market for NFT games in the world. Interesting, now we have a local player that's rising up. Yes. Ano namin, tingnan
Army
ng NFT.
Pwede.
Wow. Baka party-list ka na next time. 3 years from now. Sa dami ng NFT, mali mo. Close na naman sa dami ng Thank you. Next. Idea ko yan, ha?
Ikaw magiging chairman, sir.
For free loaded chicken. Mr. Ben Joseph Panta, CEO of Ranida Games, would like to invite you to give your closing statement.
Ayan. Well, as mentioned by Mick nga, I've been in the game development industry for years na, and ever since most of the game that we did is targeting foreign market. We also did local team games targeting Filipinos, but unfortunately Unfortunately, the clamor is not high dahil nga, like you mentioned before, they tend to think that copycat yan, and they did, it's part of the culture, like yung pagiging comparative, compare lang tayo lagi sa ibang bansa. But that is something that we wanted to break, na ang Filipino, we can do original things, and we can do great stuff then, and we are not only for outsource, and because we can kaya nga tayo na outsource yun yung kaya tayo na outsource kasi magaling tayo, and then and with the opportunity na meron tayo to create things for the Filipino, talagang ano natin, what we are just asking is for the Filipinos to support yung local content na ginagawa natin, like we are here, we are doing Rooster Wars, we are representing the Filipino talent in game development, in marketing, and in blockchain, and we are doing this not only for the Filipino, we are representing yung capabilities natin in the global stage. So yun lang po, sa mga nanonood and sa mga future na susuporta sa Metadana and sa mga projects namin, maraming salamat po.
Mr. Ben Joseph Banta, CEO of Ranida Games na joint venture partner of Metadana. I forgot, may pahabol pa dito nag-text sa akin. Ang ganda lang ng name ng Metadana. Where did it come from and what is the meaning? Parang may pagka-mystical and high-tech. Saan galing ang name? Parang artistic na.
Ako nag-isip yan eh.
Saan
It's something na, you know, that came to me at 3 a.m. mga ganyan. Nag-isip ako, what would be a cool name?
3 a.m.
Something na parang inisip ko, what would be a cool name na, I was thinking of, what would be a cool name na pwedeng global, people would understand in any part of the globe, but at the same time, merong subtle na Filipino na reference that you won't immediately think about. Tadhana. So, so ano yan combo yan actually ng dalawang words. So, meta, actually na-figure out namin yung pangalan na yan before Facebook even renamed to Meta. So, before pa sila,
sino nauna? Ikaw o si Mike Zuckerberg yung Meta?
Nauna kami maglagay niyan. May kita nyo sa... You can check it dun sa Facebook page namin, i-register namin yan before they even announced it. Anyway, ang meaning nun, Meta kasi in Greek means beyond. Dana actually in Sanskrit means wealth. So Meta, Dana, beyond wealth. Yan ang ibig sabihin yan. Tapos Tadhana, faith. The fate or destiny. Yun ang meaning niya.
Lahat na kinuha mo na. Beyond wealth.
Yes. So meron siyang English, merong European, merong South Asian, and then Filipino.
Naano ko sa name, parang napakagaling. Uy, nauna sa FTN ha. Galing. So next, we'd like to invite for closing statement, Mr. Jed Mark Cerilia, Head of Growth, Metadana Studio. So, yung mga gusto lumaki dyan, joke lang. Head of Growth, yes.
And so, very simple lang. We knew how crypto became big. Diba? Sobrang laki ng crypto. And I believe NFT will be bigger than crypto. Why? Because NFT is an actual asset. Virtual nga lang siya. Even right now, kahit, di ba, we love watching NBA. Yung mga slam dunk ni LeBron James, nagiging NFT na, they are selling it at $280,000. Di ba? Ilang millions yun? That's around 12 to 14 million pesos. Isang dunk lang that you can always watch on YouTube. Di ba? Pero, if you want an ownership of that, you will pay that amount. Kaya, sobrang dami na talagang because of NFT, na-digitalize everything. So, ganun kalaki ang market ng NFT, and I believe it will be bigger than crypto. And the good thing with Filipinos, we are the first people to move. First mover lagi ang Filipinos. But we are always the last people to make. Laging tayo yung nauuna.
Saka lagi tayong pinakamalaking consumer.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Bili
Yan
ng
nga.
bili, gastos ang gastos.
Yes, kasi we move agad eh. Like, when Axie Infinity was introduced in the market, sobrang ang daming mga Pilipino na magugulat ka, walang pambayad ng kuryente, but they were able to sort out money para may pambili ng accounts, diba? So, that's the advantage of Filipinos. So now, Metadhana, we created Rooster Wars, which is culture ng Pilipino. Diba? Sabong is a culture of Filipino. But remove, yes sir, we remove the gambling part.
So,
diba?
wala ang gambling
Yes,
part.
so we are introducing the culture of the Filipino.
So, in effect, pag sumikat ito, you are saving those E-Sabong addicts?
Yeah, actually sir, that's one of our goal.
Wholesome alternative.
Yes sir, we are promoting alternative.
Saving chicken
Yes.
pa.
Oo.
Oo, hindi natin. Galing ha.
Yeah, kaya nga there were no actual chickens na harmed eh. Diba? So, yun. We are always the last people to make. So in Metadhana, we are creating something na Filipinos and for Filipinos that possibly we will be able to bring outside the country. In fact, we have some connections right now in Africa. So we want to introduce this to African market as well. So we will have Africans that will come by next week. Yeah, and we will promote Rooster Wars Africa then. So I recommend, before other countries will really benefit from this, Filipinos, mas maganda, mag-benefit tayo. Kasi sometimes you are thinking, ay, paggawang Pinoy, hindi panlaban yan, di ba? It's not export quality. But actually, this one is an export quality wherein makikita nyo, if you watch the trailers pa lang, talagang A-grade yung natin, animation ng game. Okay, so yun lang. I just don't want Filipinos to move without making. So we will be the one making the game move for Filipinos. Yes, sir.
Si Mr. Riz, whereas ang business payroll.
Are you open to promote this game to Latin America since we have the same
very interesting. Big market.
Yes, sir. Actually, it's part of our pipeline. Nai-introduce talaga siya sa Latin America. So we have studies na kung ano yung mga countries na talagang into same culture din ng sabong. Okay? So basically, we will penetrate any part of the world na kaya nating i-penetrate.
In terms of that, there are sections of the world, segments of the world na pag sinabing sabong or cockfighting, automatic, people say it's distasteful or pangit, ganyan. Pero dito sa atin iba naman eh. In South America, it's different. It's something na ina-accept ng mga tao. Yeah, yun yung mga tina-target namin na countries. Yan.
Thank you very much. Next, closing statement. Last but not the least, Mr. Michael John Peña, Chief Technology Officer of Metadhana Studio, MJ Peña.
Alright, okay. Maraming salamat pala sa lahat ng mga nakikinig. And at the same time, join kayo sa mga groups namin. And kung may mga questions kayo, very willing to help you. So, siguro closing ko lang is two things. Number one, nabanggit naman kanina yung buong Pinoy pride aspect talaga ng project. No? But then, we want to build it in-house, but then the target is global. No? So, hindi lang talaga Pinoy ang target nating audience. So, we want to be actually an industry powerhouse. No? Just like how BPO have skyrocketed through the past decade. We want to become an NFT creator or blockchain, developers or creator powerhouse for the whole country. Kasi ang longer vision namin dito is think of it na maybe 20, 30 years from now, yung concept ng metaverse and yung digital, living and working, playing, lahat na pwedeng gawing digital, would be very normal na parang, di ba, yung mga next generation. And what we want is that, Philippines would be like yung frontera, yun yung parang capital ng metaverse. So that's the long-term goal. Yun yung long-term vision talaga natin dito. So we're not building Metadhana, to become a millionaire tomorrow, next month, or next year. So we want to build something that will be written in the history books. Yun lang. Thank you.
President, thank you to Mr. John Peñalosa. Birthday niya, kaya nagdala ng cake ito, mga staff ng Kamuning Bakery Cafe.
Thank you.
Kailangan siya mag-blow, tapos kakantahan daw ninyo siya ng happy birthday. Albert, kanta daw tayo ng happy birthday niya today. Coincidence, sige, sorry sa magaling ng kumanta eh. Halika, nasa floor ka ng simbahan at dito sa unan. Sino mag-ilip? Sige. 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Uy, first time ako kumanta. Baka bumagyo. Galing ni So, anong wish daw ni Mr. Michael John Peñalosa on his 34th birthday? Peace on earth and NFT.
Yeah. Sana yan. Support, lang. Yun lang. Sana support na this time, support lang yung natin. Sariling atin. Yan lang sa akin. Thank you. And thank you, guys.
Ang galing ng vision, Mr. Michael John Peñalosa, Metadana Studio, Rooster Wars. Thank you to Mr. Ben Joseph Panta, CEO ng Ranita Games, nasa Zoom. Mr. Jeff Mark Cerilia, Head of Growth, saka maraming groups ng gamers, Metadana Studio siya. And Michael John Peña, CTO Metadana Studio. Thank you to everyone for opening our eyes to this exciting, totally new world and industry. Ang galing pala. I did not know that the Philippines is a world leader in NFT games pala. Tayo pala customers. Thank you, Mr. Albert Gamboa, also a very respected columnist of Manila Bulletin and Business World. Thank you for introducing us to this amazing idea. Thank you and happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. Thank you. Ay, banyags tayo ha. Lunch will be served for all the media friends here. And we have breads for those media in nasa Zoom. Bahala si Clarissa and si Aya, si Lani, Rose, and Grace to arrange for that. Ayan.
Ayun, so mga kaibigan, sa oras na alas 7:01 ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time, yan po yung pong mga mahihilig dyan sa mga sabong, E-Sabong, T.O.P.A, etc. Ayan, siguro nung napakinggan nyo itong mechanics, nitong, tawag dito, itong Rooster Wars, kayo, kung magugustuhan nyo, pero hindi ko alam kung kapag nagtagal, kung ito'y magiging okay. Kasi tulad yan, yung sa E-Sabong, nagka-problema. So, hindi natin alam dito. Siyempre, may mechanics yan. Kayo makakaalam. Yung mga lalo na yung mahilig maglaro ng sabong, T.O.P.A, kayo nakakaalam yan. Okay, mga kaibigan. Ang oras, alas 7:02. Bago tayo magpatuloy, magandang gabi po. Nakanonood sa atin. Si Ma'am Lorna Buhagon Ligon ng Barangay Bayan-Bayan, nandyan sa Malabon. At siyempre yung ating mga katropang LMT, sila Ma'am Linda Villagosa ng Quezon City. Tama ba? Ayan, Quezon City. Sila Ma'am Jackie Lagpawadahar ng May Kawayan, Bulacan. Si Sir Haji Crespo ng Quezon City rin. Sir Romel Martinez ng Maynila. At siyempre si Sir Jojo Revilla, ng si Sir Jojo, Quezon City rin yata. Ayan, at magandang gabi sa inyo. At siyempre po yung ating katropa, dyan po sa HWPL, si Ma'am Rica Feliciano and Company. Magandang gabi sa inyo, ma'am. At gayon din, sino pa ba? Si Daga Rodrigo ng Lalawigan ng Rizal. So, bago tayo magpatuloy, mga kaibigan, ay pasok muna natin isang report tungkol po sa ginawang operasyon ng PNP, Police Regional Office 5, dyan po sa Camarines Norte, kung saan po meron pong isang nahuling most wanted, na ang kaso po yata, kung di ako nagkakamali, 28 counts of qualified rape. Panoorin po natin. narito ang Millennial Online TV News Update. Tiklo sa mga operatiba ng PNP Police Regional Office 5 ang kinilalang si Jonathan Pante Brizuela alias Servando Pante Brizuela, 39 anyos ng sitio Tabadhak, Barangay San Jose, Panganiban, Camarines Norte. Ang nasabing suspect ay nakalagay sa number 2 most wanted person sa regional level ng PNP Police Regional Office 5 dahil sa kasong 28 counts of qualified rape. At ayon kay PNP Police Regional Office 5 Director Police Brigadier General Jonel Estomo, inaresto ang suspect base na rin sa bisa ng warrant of arrest na ipinalabas ni Branch 5 Regional Trial Court 5th Judicial Region Dait Camarines Norte Presiding Judge Honorable Rene Morallo de la Cruz at walang kaukulang piyansa, habang sa kaso nito Republic Act 7610 ay may kaukulang piyansa na 80,000 piso para sa pansamantalan nitong paglaya. Dagdag pa ni General Estomo, ang suspect ngayon ay dinala na sa San Jose, Panganiban Municipal Police Station Lock-up Jail para sa karagdagang dokumentasyon at kasabay na rin ang pagbabalik sa korte ng warrant of arrest nitong nasabing suspect. Rosel Lopez para sa Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita. Rosel Lopez para sa Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita. Ayun, so yung mga kaibigan ng report, no, buwat po sa Police Regional Office 5, dyan po sa Camarines Norte o Bicol. At nagatid po yan sa atin sa oras na alas 7:07 po ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time. At ngayon po mga kaibigan, abay huwag na natin patagalin, tunghayin natin sa inyo yung pong ginawang 6th Annual Commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War, no? Ito pong DPCW. Siyempre po, ito'y pinangunahan po ng HWPL. At malaman natin katulad ngayon, yung mga po hindi pa rin tapos yung gera sa pagitan ng Russia at ng Ukraine. At dahil po dyan, apektado po ang pangunahing presyo ng produktong petrolyo kung saan ay nagsasakripisyo po ngayon ang ating mga tsuper, yung ating mga gumagamit ng mga sasakyan dahil po sa patuloy na pagtaas ng produktong petrolyo. So mga kaibigan, tunghayan po natin itong ginawang 6th Annual Commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War, o DPCW ng HWPL. Mga kaibigan, panoorin po natin.
What?
우리의 목적한 이 평화 세계 꼭 이루도록 합시다.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to HWPL's 6th annual commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. I am your host, Park Soo-jang. March 14th, 2016. The 10 Articles and 38 Clauses of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War was proclaimed in Seoul, Republic of Korea. And today, broadcasting from the same place, we commence the 6th annual commemoration online. The care and efforts from across societies planted the seed of peace, and now we are seeing them yield beautiful fruits. From Mindanao, Philippines, to many cities around the globe, people are reserving HWPL Peace Day and building peace monuments. Moreover, in efforts to pass on the values of peace, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and universities have introduced peace education. Youth groups and women's groups are leading campaigns, and the religious community is expanding warp offices for interaction grounded on harmony and understanding. Meanwhile, On March 1st, HWPL issued a statement on Russia and Ukraine. With deep condolences, our hearts go out to the innocent citizens suffering in Ukraine. To make sure we do not repeat such tragedy caused by violent conflict, it is ever more relevant to discuss the theme institutionalizing peace. I hope that we can achieve the goal together and bring cessation of wars that cause chaos and suffering, make a culture of peace take root, and open an era of global peace. Now, with that hope, today's program will be a chance to affirm our resolve for collective efforts and share the major goals regarding institutionalizing peace, building a legal foundation for sustainable peace. This event carries on the discussions in 2021 regarding concerted action for sustainable peace and offers a more specific approach, institutionalizing peace, which will form a foundation for peace embodied in the DPCW and help a culture of peace further its reach. Also, it will cement the spirit of peace that civil society urges, nurturing all nations and citizens as messengers of peace, and help foster a world of freedom, peace, and love. Fair governance done by law and not by force. The harmonious coexistence of different faiths, peoples, and cultural values. A world free of the grief of wars. It is a vision that can be made reality through the actions of no other than us and everyone who longs for peace. Now, to start off today's commemoration of the 6th anniversary of the DPCW, we have congratulatory messages from the members of the HWPL International Law Peace Committee.
Well, my best regards to all the members that are going to participate in the next event on March the 13th. We are in the borderline of a very historical moment in the human life when two European nations are confronting themselves, one for a hegemonic position and the other to maintain its independence. More than ever, in this border of the Third World War, I will pray to the God of all of us to maintain our main objective, peace for everybody, tranquility, calm, and overall good standard of living for all the European countries who are suffering. But not only for them, but the other members of the international community are facing a terrible moment. How many people is going to die? How many people is going to suffer? Do we need this terrible controversy? No, we don't. We need to think in other common and more higher level position objective that could prevent humanity from a catastrophic disaster. Please work hard for the program and agenda of the next event, and I wish you a great success. You are very important for the peace of the world, and I hope that through the thoughts and learnings of Chairman Lee, we will continue working for the objective of peace and the cause of justice. Good luck.
In the occasion of the 6th anniversary of the DPCW, I have the privilege to be one of the peace family around the world. Family founded by this prestigious organization, an organization that have a remarkable role to divulgate the culture of peace in its largest meaning, inclusive, to guarantee the rights and dignity of human beings.
I am delighted to participate in the 6th annual commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. Let us congratulate ourselves on coming together to build a legal foundation for sustainable peace. The precondition for achieving peace is securing people's inalienable rights, which include equality before the law, equal protection of law, non-discrimination, freedom to associate, freedom to assemble, and freedom to express. HWPL has enabled us to combine our efforts to promote peace. Over the past year, HWPL has made significant contribution to projects to promote peace, culture, and education. We need, therefore, to strengthen our movement by involving civil society and strengthening national institutions for preventing violence and promoting and enforcing non-discriminatory laws and policies. We must build stronger and non-discriminatory regional associations with the eventual aim of achieving universality. Let us rededicate ourselves to work together for the institutionalization of peace. Thank you.
Dear members of the Global Peace family, it is my great honor and pleasure to be with you today online during the occasion of the 6th commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War in the context of the institutionalization of peace. In the world's ongoing crisis, governments question themselves what kind of action would be the best action to take in order to overcome the emergency crisis. The need for human development by overcoming the public health emergency, climate change, economic decline, restrictions on human rights, brings us to the point of how these burdens are solved by the institutions of the governments. Much of the burdens of the work is therefore on the side of the governments. And so it is important what are the priorities in their institutional agenda. Until we will not be able to solve the present crisis, peace will be in a long distance in front of us. Finding a stability within all the crises in the present world is not an easy task, and it requires a lot of knowledge and wisdom. The question of security has become more and more important in the contrast of the institutionalization of peace. Enjoyment of human rights together with peace in the emergency crisis requires even more specific action and balanced well by the governments within their framework of responsibility to deal with the crisis. This requires not only a good communication strategy from the side of the governments about the crisis in the world, but it also requires a will to establish new programs for prevention of such crisis in the light of the stability, human security, de facto protection of human rights as a precondition of peace. Only when human beings feel safe, peace is becoming more visible. Cooperation of governments, for example, within the United Nations, requires a common will to apply their international law obligations, which can be done through different programs on a national level. Such programs should include a plan of action for peace, thus promoting friendly relations among nations. In this framework, political and administrative leaders, as well as the private sector, play a central role in creating a common vision for a peaceful world. Thank you.
Dear delegates, at the 6th annual commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War, these are challenging times in which we live. The effects of the COVID pandemic are still being felt worldwide. And now we face an unprecedented situation in Europe with the emergence of a new war in Ukraine that we can only hope will end quickly and with as few casualties as possible. At times like this, it becomes ever more obvious why we must strive for new solutions to promote global peace. I commend HWPL and Chairman Lee for allotting their resources, their energy and their passion in supporting projects designed to improve the array of tools available to international actors to secure a lasting peace in our world. Hopefully with tools like this, we may look forward to a brighter future. Thank you so much, and I wish you all a very happy March 14th.
The Declaration of Peace and the Cessation of War, DPCW, by the HWPL in 2016 kick-started a unique global movement for establishing peace and harmony in global societies. I am honored to participate in the 6th annual commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War and wish every success of the event. The DPCW reminds us of the pledges of our forefathers to end war and armed conflict, which destroy millions of lives, affect much more, and cast a dark shadow on our future. It enshrined the principles of actions for ending wars and establishing and sustaining peace. Its universal appeal has attracted people across the board, including heads and ministers of state, justices, professors, and activists, and inspired millions of young people to dream of a world of peace, prosperity, and happiness. HWPL was the catalyst in drafting this document and spreading its message in all corners of the world. This monumental effort has drawn the attention of global media and social media and forged a bond among millions from various borders, backgrounds, and beliefs. I am happy that the 6th commemoration of the DPCW will focus on developing a strategic paper for institutionalizing peace to the free world from the fear of war and conflict. Let us express our undying commitment to work together for the institutionalization of peace. Thank you. The commitment to peace must be a universal and omnitemporal effort. The search for peace begins with the individual, continues in families, schools, cities, and countries, and transcends peoples, nations, and continents. For the past 6 years, women and men from different parts of the world, from different cultures and traditions, have gathered in Seoul to say that there is no good war, nor a bad peace. In times of crisis, like the one we are experiencing now, dialogue and international law are the surest path for long-lasting peace. May world leaders pay attention to the inalienable values of humanitarian law and human rights and quickly return to the path where there is no room for aggression and there is no room for the strongest to step on the most vulnerable. It will be an honor to participate in the 6th annual commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. A joint effort to make the ideal of peace an always possible dream, putting away wars and conflicts and making peace an objective for all. Best regards. I am happy to participate in the 6th annual commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. For achieving peace, it is necessary to secure people's inalienable rights, which include inter alia, equality before the law, full protection of the law, non-discrimination, freedom to associate, freedom to assemble, and freedom to express. HWPL has made it possible for us to combine our efforts to promote peace. HWPL has made essential contributions to projects to promote peace, culture, and education. We need the effort to strengthen national institutions for preventing violence and promoting and enforcing non-discriminatory laws and policies. Let us continue to work together for the institutionalization of peace. Thank you.
Thank you. As the ILPC members remarked, I hope that we can bring concerted efforts as one toward institutionalizing peace, strong and fair, and build societies free of discrimination or violence, where every person is equal before the law. Next, we will have the progress report marking the 6th anniversary of the DPCW, given by someone who was part of the drafting and proclamation of the 10 Articles and 38 Clauses of the Declaration. Please give a warm hand to welcome Mr. Pravin Parekh, the President of the Confederation of Indian Bar and Chairperson of HWPL ILPC.
Hello, I am Pravin Parekh, the Chairperson of the HWPL International Law Peace Committee. I am pleased to meet you again, all the peace messengers working all over the world for peace celebrating the 6th anniversary. After the 5th anniversary last year, HWPL has been active in promoting and realizing the value of the DPCW. Before introducing the activities, let us take a look at the history of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War, DPCW, which we have gathered to commemorate. On 25th May 2013, HWPL Chairman Man Lee He declared the need to implement international law for the cessation of war and world peace through the Declaration of World Peace. Afterwards, at the HWPL World Peace Summit on 18 September 2014, 29 political leaders, including former heads of the state, chief justices, and world leaders, promised the implementation of international law for peace by signing the agreement to propose the enactment of international law for the cessation of wars and world peace. After the promise, international law experts from 17 countries were appointed as the International Law Peace Committee ILPC to lay the foundation for drafting the peace declaration, and after several meetings, the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War DPCW was finally drafted on 14th March 2016 at 3:14 p.m. at COEX Seoul. The DPCW was proclaimed to the whole world. In order to create a peaceful world without war, practical laws and systems beyond wishing for peace are needed. Also, the causes, means, and ideas of war must be fundamentally eliminated and changed. Accordingly, HWPL has included clauses preventing war and practical ways to achieve peace in the DPCW with intentions to implement it as a legally binding international law to leave a world of peace without war to the future generations. HWPL has conducted LP Legislate Peace Project, an activity to secure, support and realize the DPCW with the youth, women and civil society around the world since the DPCW was proclaimed. As a result of this, HWPL has signed MOUs with the Pan-African Parliament PAP, which is the legislative body of the African Union consisting of 55 African countries. The International Center for Black Sea Baltics Studies and Consensus Practices, whose members are former heads of the Eastern European countries, as well as an MOA with the Coalition of the Caribbean Leaders for the Peace, CCLP, whose members are former heads of the Caribbean countries. In addition to this, the resolutions were passed by the support of the TPCW by the Central American Parliament in 2017, Cotabato and Davao City in Mindanao of the Philippines in 2019, and Kapalong, Davalded, North Midantun in 2020. Support for the DPCW was also expressed at the national level by Silicis, Eswatini and Comoros in 2018, and Antigua and Barbuda and Saint Vincent and the Grenadines in 2019. In 2021, education for law school students regarding the DPCW was actively conducted. A total of 21 law school students from 4 countries, India, Bangladesh, Tunisia, and the Dominican Republic participated and produced various results. After the education, Jendouba and James University in Tunisia each established an international peace club to carry out various peace activities. Additionally, HWPL signed an MOA with NCE Law School of the Dominican Republic of Continuous Education and Cooperation, and they also signed an MOU with the Empowerment through Law of the Common People of E-Sabong, an organization represented by a law professor at Dhaka University in Bangladesh. In order to realize Articles 8 and 9 of the DPCW that proposes to resolve the root cause of the conflicts between the religions, which is the main cause of the war, 266 World Alliance of Religions peace offices are being operated in 129 countries, and a total 3698 discussions and talks were held last year. HWPL continues to teach the culture and the spirit of peace through HWPL peace education to teenagers and children who will be the heroes of the future in order to maintain a world of peace, as stated in Article 10 of DPCW. Currently, 242 locations in 42 countries are designated as peace schools and peace organizations, and 1,500 education sessions were conducted in 111 countries around the world last year. The history of peace created by HWPL and the messengers of the peace around the world is not the work of a distant future. It is our work that will be done in the near future, and most importantly, it is our task. Despite the endless global pandemic, HWPL's peace activities continue without interruptions, and more passengers of peace are joining us. More active peace activities will take place this year than ever. I would like to express my gratitude to everyone who attended the 6th annual commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War and conclude the progress report. Thank you. 14th March 2022, Praveen Parekh, the Chairman of HWPL International Law Peace Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I ask for your continued support and cooperation for HWPL's peace projects in 2022. Now, we will invite two peace messengers to hear from them. First, Professor Romel Santos Diaz, President of the Dominican Federalist Foundation, will present a case study of the DPCW Handbook Education Project to institutionalize peace.
From the Dominican Republic, we want to present a case study of the DPCW Handbook Project for institutionalizing peace and present you all our speech in this DPCW commemoration. To Chairman Lee, the directors of HWPL, and esteemed guests, I appreciate the opportunity to speak at HWPL's 6th annual commemoration of the DPCW about the path our work has taken for the DPCW in the Dominican Republic.
Sobre la trayectoria de nuestro trabajo para la declaración de paz y cese de guerras en la República Dominicana.
I believe that the DPCW is a document of universal value. It is a vital and ideal document to be incorporated into primary and university education programs with the objective and purpose of providing guidance to citizens about peace as a global movement. In addition, it is a document that can strengthen the rule of law and protect fundamental human rights. The beginning of our work with HWPL dates back to 2018 with the trip to Washington, D.C. to participate in the 48th General Assembly of the Organization of American States, where we met several of the members of HWPL's international team.
Equipo internacional de cultura celestial, paz mundial, restauración de la luz en Washington, D.C.
Currently, I've had the honor of coordinating important dialogues on the DPCW, connecting HWPL with students from INCE University and the Autonomous University of Santo Domingo, which are two of the best universities in our country.
Las cuales son de las mejores universidades de nuestro país.
We have worked with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Attorney General's Office of the Dominican Republic to provide feedback on the Dominican state's decision-making for public policies on citizen security and human rights with the DPCW as a guide. We have formed a strong NGO coalition to support the DPCW, and we have presented the DPCW to important non-governmental organizations to support the process of institutionalizing the DPCW in the Dominican Republic.
Apoyar el proceso de institucionalización de esta importante declaración en la República Dominicana.
An important factor for our work in the Dominican Republic is the DPCW handbook in schools and universities, and at the same time, we are working with civil society organizations and non-governmental organizations.
Y asimismo, la colaboración con organizaciones de la sociedad civil y organizaciones no gubernamentales.
Currently, many professors from different universities are expressing interest and requesting to teach these materials and have DPCW training with their classes. We are in the process of institutionalizing the trainings of the DPCW manual so that they will not be administered once, but will be part of the International Law University curriculum to help instill in the minds of our future leaders the importance of uniting our voices to promote peace through legislation.
Para ayudar a inculcar en las mentes de nuestros futuros líderes la importancia de unir nuestras voces para promover la paz a través de la legislación.
Currently, we are working with Dominican Republic's Senate and the Chamber of Deputies to approve the resolution in support of the DPCW, which was drafted by the coalition with comments from HWPL.
En apoyo a la declaración de paz y cese de guerras.
We are preparing communiques for the President of the Dominican Republic, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Secretary of the Organization of American States to request support for the DPCW throughout Latin America and the Caribbean. I have the honor to introduce within the framework of the annual commemoration of the DPCW the non-governmental organizations that have formed a coalition to support the DPCW in the Dominican Republic.
Para apoyar a la DPCW en la República Dominicana.
It is a diverse group of civil society organizations that support the DPCW in the Dominican Republic. It forms strategic alliances in the long run to obtain support for the DPCW and HWPL by other organizations, the government, and their key institutions. For example, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Culture, and the Ministry of Youth. The organizations are as follows: Commission for the Inter-American Democratic Charter, Dominican Federalist Foundation, National Foundation for Democracy, Dominican Organization for Studies and Promotion of International Relations, Institute of Lawyers for the Protection of the Environment and Natural Resources, Family Restoration Help Center, Dominican Literacy Foundation, Horizon of Light Foundation, Dominican Network for Democracy, and the Dominican Coalition in Support for the International Criminal Court. We once again thank HWPL and Chairman Lee for their tireless efforts to spread the true message of peace, not only in our country, but throughout the world. As we continue to work to institutionalize DPCW training at the university level, build and strengthen our CSO coalition, and advocate for the DPCW at the national level through communiques and meetings with officials and legislative resolutions, I hope that our passion, plans, and progress in the Dominican Republic can be an inspiration for everyone present today.
Los planes y el progreso en la República Dominicana puedan ser una inspiración para todos los que están presentes hoy.
We will continue to be the hands and feet of HWPL and Chairman Lee to create a world of freedom, peace, and love that we can leave to our future generations, starting here in the Dominican Republic as an example for the world.
Comenzando acá en la República Dominicana como un ejemplo para el mundo.
Thank you for the speech. The stories about the DPCW handbook training and collaboration with civil organizations showed us the efforts taking place in Dominica to incorporate the DPCW into the institution on multiple fronts. Now, we will hear from Imam Shafiq Nulan of Westridge Mosque in South Africa on the value of the DPCW for religious peace and institutionalization.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Greetings of love, peace, mercy, and blessings to our family and messengers of peace around the world. I am Maulana Shafiq Nolan from Mitchells Plain, South Africa, and I have been a participant at the HWPL WOP office for a number of years now. I am thrilled and very excited to be communicating with you at this very auspicious occasion of the 6th commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. Dear friends, it is the unfortunate reality that peace to many is only a fantasy. In many parts of the world, women, children, elderly, and men alike, they are crying desperately for the end of wars and oppression. Some have given up on the dream of equal peace for all. Others still believe it is within their human reach, even though they don't know anything else but destruction, mayhem, and wars. It should be the mission of all sectors of our global society to aspire to the realization of the DPCW. Article 8 and 9 of the DPCW emphasizes the importance of peace between religions and the cessation of religious conflicts. The monthly scripture dialogue hosted by HWPL particularly aim to create a platform to break down misunderstandings of religious scripture and practices, mirroring the values expressed in the DPCW. I have engaged in many interfaith platforms. However, WARP Office is the first one that I have committed myself to on a continuous basis. Initially, I did not know what to expect from the WARP offices, but after getting involved in many peace activities of HWPL, the Peace Walks, and the Peace Summit in Korea, it became very clear that there is a noble purpose with a clear goal to create religious harmony and global peace. At that moment, I resolved that this is something that I have to be a part of. As a Muslim and a representative of Islam in the WARP office, there were occasions where I had a particular understanding and a particular view on a given subject. The discussions and dialogue inspired me to dig in very deep into my own scripture and develop a holistic view in line with the Islamic teachings. This shows, as religious leaders, we can learn from each other and through discussion create understanding amongst religious leaders for the purpose of ending religious misunderstandings. These experiences we take to our congregation and encourage them with the same mindset. not to seek for differences, but to seek for understanding. An example of this is when we hosted the WARP office at our mosque. After the sessions, I had congregants expressing how thought-provoking and interesting the views from other panelists were. This is indeed the culture that emanates from the vision of WARP office, which influences people of faith to instill within them the culture of religious harmony, institutionalizing sustainable peace and achieving a culture where people of faith understand the importance of communication and consistently interact with people of different religions. Oh, people of Scripture, come to a common word and understanding which is the same between us. Fellow peace messengers, we are living in an age of information explosion, where accurate and inaccurate information is readily available to anyone. It is our collective duty as religious leaders to lead our congregants with accurate information and ensure that we advance the true objectives of our scripture. For indeed, all heavenly revealed scriptures have a common goal for all mankind, and that is, apart from others, to inspire wholesome and peaceful living with closeness to the Almighty. The newsletter and WARP offers journals that HWPL has sent globally to people of faith is a wonderful initiative that is vital in achieving the institutionalization of peace within religion. It has the potential to discredit any incorrect narrative that may be portrayed in the media or people's minds about other religions. As I have been informed, this initiative has encouraged leaders who had not previously participated in the WARP office to join and engage in scripture dialogue, further expanding the work of peace and religious harmony. This initiative is an essential mechanism to serve the purpose of realizing mutual understanding and mutual respect for each other's faith. As a faith leader from the Islamic faith, I wish to commend HWPL for the wonderful platform of WARP office. And during the lockdown, where we could not meet, this online platform was facilitated in order to forward the work of peace, where religious leaders as well as the global community could converge for the common objective of realizing peace. WARP office is growing and expanding despite these challenges that we face. I will continue to work to grow this peace initiative, and we advise everyone to do the same. As faith leaders, we need to stay committed and march forward relentlessly for the sake of peace until its realization. Together with HWPL, let's all be the voice of peace for the voiceless and the hope for the hopeless. I thank you all most kindly and greet you with the greeting of universal peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much for that speech. Imam Nolan spoke about institutionalizing peace for sustainable peace and religious harmony achieved through an organic interfaith exchange and interaction. This time, we will invite John Romel Garces, Chief Branch Manager of HWPL Philippines Branch. Mr. Garces will talk about the strongest foundation for achieving peace, institutionalization of HWPL peace education in the Philippines.
Greetings of peace. I am John Romel Garces, the Chief Branch Manager of HWPL in the Philippines. In line with the title of The Strongest Foundation in Achieving World Peace, Institutionalization of HWPL Peace Education in the Philippines, we would like to share the example of how peace education is being adopted in the Philippines. In June 2013, Chairman Lee Man-hee conducted his first visit in the Philippines. He received an advice to extend HWPL's works of peace in Mindanao, the most conflicted region in the Philippines. 6 months later, Chairman Lee led the Mindanao Peace Agreement represented by Archbishop Fernando Capalla and Honorable Ismael Mangudadatu. This signified the beginning of the work of HWPL in the Philippines. This eventually led to the establishment of the first HWPL Peace Monument in the Philippines. Chairman Lee says, peace is planted in each person's heart through this peace monument. Therefore, the establishment of Peace Monument is also part of peace education. And January 24 was proclaimed as HWPL Peace Day in the province of Maguindanao in honor of the Mindanao Peace Agreement. The engagements of HWPL in Mindanao quickly spread out, reaching even the leadership of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, an Islamic group in Mindanao region who fought for self-determination for over 40 years. Chief Minister Ahod Ibrahim, motivated by HWPL Peace Movement, he then established the second Peace Monument in Camp Darapanan of the MILF and declared January 24 as HWPL Peace Day. Meanwhile, another unprecedented peace movement was launched by HWPL when the 10 Articles and 38 Clauses of DPCW was proclaimed in the Republic of Korea. Through this, the concept of Article 10, spreading the culture of peace through peace education, was intensified. Moving forward, through the Cotabato State University, which is under CHED, Dr. Ronald Adamat was invited to join the Third Warp Summit, and from then on, he decided to work together with HWPL. By January 2018, HWPL and CHED signed an MOA during the 26th World Peace Tour of Chairman Lee. This has become a huge step in institutionalizing peace education in the Philippines. This led to the release of CHED Memorandum Order No. 1, Series of 2019, an order mandating all higher educational institutions to integrate peace education in their respective curricula.
Being a peace advocate, I have strongly and consistently supported HWPL's vision of establishing world peace through reunification and cessation of wars and hostilities among peoples and nations. In 2019, I initiated in CHED the issuance of CMO No. 1. This particular CMO mandated all higher education institutions in the country to introduce to our students the relevance and significance of peace in relation to nation building, development, and international relations. I wanted that every Filipino student renounce war and work for the cessation of hostilities as espoused by HWPL.
Efforts to reach out the basic education through DepEd started in Cotabato City, Mindanao in the fourth quarter of 2019. Pilot testing and contextualization, the most important part of integration process of HWPL peace education into the education system, were first conducted through the cooperation of the DepEd Schools Division of Cotabato City. And in February 6, 2020, an MOA was signed between HWPL and DepEd Cotabato City. While gaining this great momentum for peace education, the pandemic strikes the whole world. This was the most difficult moment. But instead of slowing down, we doubled the efforts and made the work faster. HWPL Peace Education Philippines launched the Voice of Peace, a platform for volunteer teachers to be trained and exercise their profession, catering the greatly affected students who were forced to stay home due to the pandemic. From July 30, 2020 to February 6, 2021, the Voice of Peace produced 52 students empowered with 12 education lessons that was taught by 19 volunteer teachers. Because of the positive response of the education sector as well as the students, HWPL intensified the training of teachers, raising them to be peace educators to cater more students. From January 2021 to present, HWPL Philippines hosted 10 training programs, trained 2,079 teachers, and became peace educators, and through them, 36 schools are now implementing peace education in their curriculum, which covers about 23,000 students. These sincere efforts bore fruits in the heart of the Filipinos and was acknowledged by the DepEd, eventually leading to more partnerships. HWPL was introduced to the National Office of DepEd and received the support in implementing peace education initiatives in the basic education.
As an important tool in promoting peace education, we have also piloted peace education in Pila District through HWPL, emphasizing the integration of peace, nonviolence, conflict resolution, social justice, economic well-being, practical participation, and environmental concerns.
The Department of Education is definitely supportive of efforts to ensure that the learners become peace-loving Filipinos. Definitely, we have partners from the division offices, schools especially, and even from the private schools, working with your team in making sure that the peace education collaborations are effectively implemented.
Moreover, HWPL was invited to be part of the national working group, including CHED regional directors, to implement peace education to all colleges and universities in the Philippines, as stipulated in CHED Memorandum Order No. 1, Series of 2019.
To the peace educators of the HWPL, your vision to enlighten students and cultivate talented individuals with the values and spirit of peace, who can in turn play a pioneering role in spreading the culture of peace, is indeed admirable and commendable.
Philippines is comprised of 17 regions. So far, we have an MOU with Region 2 and Region 10, total of 65 partner colleges and universities. We are targeting to reach out all the 17 regions in 2022. Moreover, Dr. Adamat, the champion of peace education, initiated another great move as he convinced CHED to propose January 24 as National Peace Day. If approved, all the colleges and universities in the 17 regions of the Philippines will celebrate this Peace Day.
In 2021, I convinced CHED to call on President Rodrigo Duterte to declare January 24 as regular holiday, being National Peace Day. The CHED Commission in Bank has issued an endorsement to President Duterte urging him to declare January 24 as National Peace Day that will provide for simultaneous celebration and observance of peace through peace activities, events, and ceremonies by all instrumentalities and agencies of government, including the private sector.
Every peace monument has its own story. The third peace monument in Cotabato City was erected inside the Christian and Muslim community, and they melted the weapon as a strong symbol of community transformation from war to peace. The fourth peace monument in Barangay Foz, Ilocos Norte was erected through the volunteer teacher of peace education that touches the hearts of the students, eventually to their parents and to the whole community. The entire community contributed according to their capacity, and so they have established the Peace Monument. Lastly, the fifth Peace Monument in Siniloan Integrated National High School is the first Peace Monument inside the school campus. The government and private sector, as well as the teachers, work together to establish the monument that will inspire and transform the students from generation to generation.
Mindanao used to be a chaotic place. I am so happy to see the Peace Monument at Camp Tarapanan. Now, I am donating this gun of mine for the sake of peace in this place. The people in my organization are delighted to see this peaceful landmark established here in our area.
The DPCW Article 10 spreading the culture of peace have paved the way for peace education to reach the hearts of every learners. Therefore, we envision every schools, colleges, universities, all across the globe, starting in the Philippines, will nurture the students and embed peace education in their hearts and minds. Eventually, the leaders of the next generation will rise up and will lead the world with peace and love. I myself witnessed how Mindanao have changed. I once asked a child living in Mindanao, "What is peace for you?" He answered, "Peace is the gun because it gives us protection." Even for Filipinos, we are hesitant to go to Mindanao because of the image of wars and conflicts. But I saw how Chairman Lee carried out his peace works in Mindanao without hesitation, and I myself have been changed. Now we can tell a different story. We may confidently say the new definition of peace. Peace is education. Peace is DPCW. Everyone, join me in declaring, we are one!
Thank you. Building on the foundations for implementing peace education in the Philippines, Mr. Garces shared plans to promote the values of peace and to ensure that DPCW Article 10, spreading a culture of peace, gets passed on through generations. Since its declaration in 2016, the DPCW gave birth to a number of peace campaigns across the globe. We have seen peace movements bring promising signs across diverse countries, religions, and cultures. Take a look at clips from the scene of peace building.
Why do we call for peace? In the midst of constant conflict with no end in sight, where we are desperate for peace in our lives, we call for peace today, to leave a legacy of sustainable peace for future generations. HWPL 6th Annual Commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. After the DPCW was proclaimed on the 14th of March 2016, the DPCW Handbook was made. Recognizing the need for the DPCW, law students across the globe utilized the handbook to propose practical policies for the governments and engage in a wide range of discussions to institutionalize peace. Religious leaders are realizing the value of Articles 8 and 9 of the DPCW through the Warp Office discussions, and there are consistent efforts to expand the established Warp offices throughout the world in order to institutionalize religious peace. HWPL Peace Education carries Article 10 of the DPCW, spreading a culture of peace, into action by training HWPL peace educators who will go on to teach students about peace. Efforts to institutionalize peace education will continue through the implementation of peace education in schools worldwide in order to foster peaceful citizens who can achieve and maintain peace even in the midst of conflicts. In order to support and promote the DPCW, youth and women are finding and trying different ways to achieve tangible peace in their respective locations. The recent ceremony marking the 8th anniversary of the civilian-led peace agreement in Mindanao, Philippines, demonstrated a remarkable achievement of peace. Students who underwent peace education led the establishment of a peace movement, and the country's agency in charge of higher education is implementing the HWPL peace education. Also,
Mga millennials, marunong na ba kayong magluto ng mga masasarap at swak sa budget na mga pagkain? Abay, huwag puro lang kayo Axie at ML at puro pagkakalikot lang ng cellphone. Dapat marunong ka rin sa gawaing bahay at tulungan ang inyong mga mamsi. Kaya tara na, samahan natin ang kusinera ng bagong milenyo, si Ate J. At tuturuan tayong magluto ng mga masasarap na ulam para sa ating mga hapagkainan at swak pa sa budget. Ika nga, a delicious food on a proper price. Tara na, mga katropa! I-type lang sa inyong mga cellphone sa inyong mga Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV.
Barangay, pangunahing unit ng pamahalaan lokal kung saan dito pinag-uusapan ang bawat sigalot ng mga residente ng bawat barangay. Dito rin pinag-uusapan ng mga piling halal na opisyal na barangay ang mga proyekto para sa kanilang barangay. Kumustahin natin ang panunungkulan ni Kapitan dito sa Dama Barangay sa Millennial Online TV Worldwide, ang katropa ng bawat barangay.
At tinatapos ang
pagpupulong. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo at tapos na po ang ating session. Enjoy na po tayo.
Now, we are
Talakayin.
The biggest destruction of dangerous drugs worth 1.
Rebisahin. Opinyon. Malawakin. Aksyonan. Kasama si Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa sa pagbabalita. Dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Tutok na mga katropa!
Salamat po.
Yun mga kaibigan, napanood natin yung commemoration ng HWPL, no, para sa world peace, no. Katulad niyan yung nangyayari ngayon sa Ukraine tsaka sa Russia, sana matapos na, no, dahil yun nga dapat magkaroon na nga ng pagkakaisang buong mundo, no, unity, no. Sana magising na sana yung mga namumuno diyan sa Ukraine tsaka sa Russia na ano ba pinagtatalunan. Hindi ba pwedeng pag-usapan yon ng maayos na pag-uusap kung ano ang problema? Hindi yung katulad yan, kita nyo nangyayari, di ba? So marami hong nadadamay yung mga walang kinalaman, yung mga inosente, syempre bombahan yan di ba? So sana matapos na ho yun at sana magkaroon ng isipan yung mga namumuno na mag-usap, no, para magkasundo na itong dalawang bansa na to. Well, with that, mga kaibigan, ay pasamantala po magpapaalam muna inyong lingkod, no, sa oras na alas 8:32 po ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time. At muli tayo magbabalik bukas para po sa another edition po ng programang T.R.O.P.A. At bukas itutunghay naman natin yung pong ginawa na forum nga po tungkol naman to sa mga transport sector. No, kasama na ho dyan yung pagtaas ng mga pangunahing produktong petrolyo, gasolina, krudo, no, at iba pa, LPG kasama rin. Kawawa ho taong bayan. Muli po, ako po yung naging kasama, pero bago yan, may maraming salamat po sa ating mga taga-subaybay, no, sina Kagawad Salidad at Pineda, at ang lahat ng ating katropang LMT, ano, at siyempre, basta sa lahat ng tumunghay dito, lalo na yung mga taga-HWPL, maraming salamat po sa inyo, no, sana ay makamtan po natin yung unity ng buong mundo. Magkaisa na, huwag nang magkaroon ng alitan. Maadadaan naman ho yan sa lahat sa mabubuting pag-uusap, no? Hindi na kinakailangan dumanak ng dugo, no? Kundi kung mapag-uusapan ng mais, bakit ba hindi? Di ba? Sana ganun ang mangyari. Okay, maraming salamat po sa inyo at muli po ako yung naging kasama, si Rosel Lopez at si ating technical side, si Joshua Baltao. Magandang gabi Pilipinas at mapayapang magdamag. Magandang gabi po.
Ito ba stress? O may dinaramdam o gulong-gulo na talaga isip mo. Tumutok lamang at panoorin dito sa Millennial Online TV. May tuturo po ko sa inyong isang paraan upang maibsan at mabawasan niyang problemado ninyong pag-iisip. Ito ay ang Tai Chi Learning Series. Sana po tumutok po kayo at abangan niyo po kung Sabado po ng umaga yan. Dito lamang po sa Millennial Online TV. Salamat po.
Mga milenyo, pagod ka na ba galing sa trabaho? At gutom na sa maghabong pagtatrabaho? Pero wala kang pagkain sa bahay? Narito na ang sagot mga katropa, ang Superman of Lechon. Napapawi sa inyong gutom at siguradong mapapa-analyze ka dahil sa tender juicy na jam mo pa. At siguradong malinis at bagong katay buhat sa farm. Kaya super masalasa at pangmasa pa. Ano pa hinihintay nyo mga katropa? Takbo na sa Superman of Panteño Siniluan at bumili na. Baka maabusan ka, katropa.
Mga millennials, marunong na ba kayong magluto ng mga masasarap at swak sa budget na mga pagkain? Abay, wag puro lang kayo aksi at ML at puro pagkakalikot lang ng cellphone. Dapat marunong ka rin sa gawaing bahay at tulungan ang inyong mga mamsi. Kaya tara na, samahan natin ang kusinera ng bagong milenyo, si Ate J. At tuturuan tayong magluto ng mga masasarap na ulam para sa ating mga hapagkainan at swak pa sa budget. Ika nga, a delicious food on a pauper price. Tara na, mga katropa! I-type lang sa inyong mga cellphone sa inyong mga Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV.
Hanap mo ba ay unwind ventures? Tara nang mamangha sa mga tanawin. Ano man ang iyong travel goals? Dadalhin namin kayo. Sa unwind ventures at saya. Dito lang sa Wow Biyahe. Kaya wow, di ba?
Abangan dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Ikaw ba'y nag-iisa? Nalulungkot dahil iniwan at ipinagpalit, niloko ng iyong minamahal. Kung ngayon, i-type sa inyong mga cellphone, Facebook o YouTube man ang Millennial Online TV. Dahil nasa Millennial Online TV na ang online haralista ng bagong milenyo, si Randel Villados.
Naninigas ang aking katawan kapag umikot ng plaka.
At haharanahin kayo ni Randel ng iba't ibang awitin para maibsan ang inyong inip at kalungkutan kahit nasaan man kayo.
Hanggang sa tumanda. Come on! Kung tayo'y matanda na, sana'y di tayo magbago.
At pwede rin kayong makiduet kay Randel tuwing Sabado ng hapon. Tutok na! Tawag na, mga milenyo!
Araw-araw ikaw ang gusto kong kasama. Buhay ko'y kumpleto na tuwing nandito ka sa tabi ko o aking giliw.
Barangay, pangunahing unit ng pamahalaan lokal kung saan dito pinag-uusapan ang bawat sinalot ng mga residente ng bawat barangay. Dito rin pinag-uusapan ng mga piling halal na opisyal na barangay ang mga proyekto para sa kanilang barangay. Kumustahin natin ang panunungkulan ni Kapitan dito sa Dama Barangay sa Millennial Online TV Worldwide, ang katropa ng bawat barangay.
Ating tinatapos ang ating pagpupulong. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo at tapos na po ang ating session. Enjoy na po tayo.
Nagbabasa ka pa ba ng dyaryo? O nakikinig ka pa ba ng radyo? Kung ngayon, lahat yan ay mapapakinggan nyo na sa inyong mga cellphone. Dahil online na tayo, mga kamilenyo. Kaya manood, makinig dito sa Millennial Online TV.
Rider, sumalpok sa
Kaya
poste ng
i-follow, like, subscribe, at i-share na, mga katropa.
Now, we are
Talakayin.
The biggest destruction of dangerous drugs worth 1.2
Rebisahin. Opinyon. Malawaking. Aksyonan. Kasama si Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa sa pagbabalita. Dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Tutok na, mga katropa!
Pinaigting, pinalakas ang bagong news online TV ng bagong milenyo. Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, pero sa sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng mahiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mo bagaw, ay ginagang tula, tawid sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na naghihingi, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang ay di maghihingi. Luman ang araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling ko. Ang inigaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Sa lahat ng bumubuo ng Millennial Online TV at sa lahat po ng sumusuporta, maraming salamat po. Millennial Online TV is now signing off.